So welcome to Box Hill Athletics Track for Meet 2 of the Victorian Miles Club. And this evening we have 30 races on the program, starting with the men's J 800 metres, who find themselves on the track to start this 2-lap event. So in lane 1, as I just pull up the start list, we have Samuel Blood from Ballarat YC. We have Aidan Mascarsko, unattached. Michael Stahl, unattached. Brock Goddings, Doncaster. Austin Fernando, unattached. Daniel Plotkin, unattached. Andre Maladuret from Collingwood. Tony Brain from Melbourne Uni. Davin Traub from MAC, boys? Maccabi. David Trabb from Maccabi, and Austin Mates from Richmond Harriers. And in the commentary box this morning, or this afternoon, we have the Dream Team back. Mitch Dyer, how are you, mate?
Yeah, fantastic, Mick. Thanks very much for the introduction.
And James Coleman, driven straight down from Falls Creek, fresh off the mountain, stint of altitude. Hopefully that lack of oxygen hasn't gone to your head too much and you're able to perform tonight.
No, not at all. It'll be some long-winded commentary for us all tonight. Look forward to it. A good night of racing, and it looks to be pretty good weather conditions at the moment. Doesn't look like there's too much wind about. Trees moving a little bit, but be all right.
Yeah, I
think shelter here.
Conditions should lend itself to some more PBs, and Lakeside Stadium's currently getting resurfaced. We'd usually see a couple more Miles Club meets over at Lakeside Stadium near the city, but Bendigo always produces fast times. They had the White Horse Classic here a couple of weeks ago, and also got a couple of other major events coming up here. Zatopek in a couple of weeks. Oh, sorry, this Saturday for Zatopek. So there'll be a live stream going for that one as well. So there's a few invitational runners maybe having their first go at Miles Club, maybe not part of a Athletics Victoria or Little Athletics Club as yet, so they might be lining up for one of their first runs in the 800 metre event.
Right, well, it looks like the starter has caught him up to the start line now. So if we look at our seed times, the fastest seed in this heat is 2:26 of Austin Fernando. So Austin Fernando will be wearing hip number 5. He's in the blue t-shirt in the middle of our field. So we're off now for our first race of the evening. Getting out to a great start, Brock Goodings of Doncaster. And then Fernando in the blue, just in second.
Samuel Blood, the athlete from Ballarat, in the red in third position, and the young athlete in, looks like, what is that, Fernando, in fourth position. The young boy in the middle in black.
Now Fernando, he's wearing the blue t-shirt.
All right, lock that in your minds, guys.
Lock it in.
Fernando in the blue.
And then Goodings of Doncaster out the front. So he's probably got about 10 or 15 metres on the field already. He's looking very strong.
Goodings coming in with a personal best time of 2 minutes 26.93. We like it when athletes enter with the point times. Makes it look legit. Yeah. Well, it probably is legit.
Yeah, they haven't fudged this one.
And he's gone through that first lap in 70 seconds, 69 even. So he's got a bit of time up his sleeve to come through in under his PB.
So Daniel Plotkin, he's the youngster now. He's moved himself into third position. It looks great out there. Having an absolute blast. But Goodings Still looking pretty strong in that back straight. Be pretty difficult to beat him at this stage, but Fernando, he's the fastest seed in this field. What's he got in the last 200, Mika?
I know he's the fastest person on the track with a blue T-shirt as well currently. So if he doesn't win the overall race, he could win that race.
First blue T-shirt division.
There are a few of them out there, a few blue T-shirts, a few black singlets as well. But our leader in Brock Goodings is the only one in yellow and the only one leading the overall race as he makes his way into the final straight. And he will come in under a PB time. 2:26 was his seed time. Clock ticks over 2:17, 2:18, 2:19, 2:20. And he finishes this two-lap journey in 2:23 as Austin Fernando charges through behind him in about the 2:25 mark.
And Daniel Plotkin, what a run from him. He looked really strong too over that last 200, just accelerating all throughout that last lap. So maybe the first of many miles clubs for him.
And our athletes coming through now. We have Samuel Blood in the red singlet from Ballarat, and
from Maccabi, that'll be David Traub. A great little finish between those two. And Austin Mates now of Richmond Harriers.
And so we line up now for the men's I-800, and we'll call them by their names here. Harvey McInnes, lane 1, unattached. Anthony Van Eaton, lane 2, from Old Scotch. Dylan Rowbottom from Essendon in lane 3. Oliver Bradshaw from Chilwell, I believe, in lane 4. Kieran McCauley of Diamond Valley. In lane 5, Fabio Aguiard of Collingwood in lane 6. Riley Ellett of... Is that St Kilda or St Kevin's? I'm going to guess St Kevin's in lane 7.
Not what he sees in
Collingwood, and I'm getting excited. And Noah Thorpe, lane 9 of Ringwood. So these are the men as they line up for the I-800.
So looking at these seed times, Kieran McCauley of Diamond Valley, he's got our fastest seed time in 2:20, but then we're down to 2:26. So we'll see throughout the night a lot of these heats very, very close with all their seed times. Really, all these runners in these heats have a good chance to take out the win. But the main thing with these miles clubs is going home with a PB, so hopefully plenty of fast racing tonight.
That's in it. The home of the PBs here at Box Hill. It looks like the St Kevin's athlete in Riley Ellett's going to be the one to take it out. And tucked in behind him there is Noah Thorpe, who's going to lead that chase pack there at 200 metres into the race. But Ellett, he started on the outside, and he's ready to make his presence known early. So he's going to take him out, and he's moving pretty quick there, I would say.
Yeah, moving very well. We can see they've strung out pretty quickly, so that's when we know that the pace is hot. So we'll be sure to call out that split as they come through the 400. But Ellett looking fantastic. He's really pulled this field along. Aguard of Collingwood kind of leading that chase pack through. Harvey McInnes, he's the unattached athlete in the blue singlet. He's moved up So 65 seconds. They're on 2:10 pace.
And they are moving here, Jimmy, and he's just taking it from the gun, and he's going to see how long he can hold on to it. Riley Ellett, they haven't really caught too much room up on him, but now they start to move around, heading to the back straight. And we've got one of our Collingwood athletes
Fabiana Aguard.
Aguard now is going to lead that chase back and try and pin back a bit of that space on Ellett. He's still got that 5 to 10 metre gap, but they all seem to be working together. And it now looks like Dylan Rowbottom now is going to go around him and get on his shoulder with 200 metres to go. So we see what he can do off the famous Ellinghouse bend there here at Box Hill. And now he starts to go. Rowbottom now makes his presence known as Ellett starts to go backwards a little bit as that pack maybe goes around him, but it's all Rowbottom, and he's flying into this straight here, Jim.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic run from Rowbottom. He's timed his run to absolute perfection at this stage. I'm not afraid to call it too early because he's just accelerating into this final bend. But have a look at Aguard, the youngster of Collingwood, and Harvey McKinns in the blue singlet trying to go around on the outside. Thorpe holding him off. But it will be all Rowbottom here. 2:18 on the clock. McKinns and Aguard just getting over 2:20. So I reckon there could be a bunch of PBs in that race. That was brilliant running. We saw Ellett take that early lead, but Rowbottom timing his run to perfection, making that move at about 2:50 and just accelerating over that final 200.
Oh, he knew exactly what he was doing. He was just biding his time, and he looked so fresh with 200 metres to go. And I guess when there's no wind and you can let people take the lead, you're going to be able to sit off and feel comfy, and then you trust your kick, and he trusted it, and he trusted it wisely. So a great run there, and I think you're right, a few PBs across the board. So good start to the night here for the boys. And what about you, Jimmy? 800s over your time. Were you a sit and kick specialist, or were you you go out and make the race hard? What were you?
I'm no specialist over the 800.
All right. No speed. No speed in the legs.
No speed at all. I'm a fly and die kind of guy over the 800. I tell you what.
Yeah, but it'd be beautiful to see.
Okay, and we have the women's G race coming onto the track now as our roving cameraman shows athlete by athlete lining up. In lane 1, it's Susan Howell from Chilwell. Lane 2, Rihanna Watts from Ballarat. Lane 3, Ruby Aitken from Box Hill. 4 is Jessica Walford, Mentone. 5, Emma Ochoa, unattached. 6, Ashlyn Jansen, AWA. We'll get back to you on that one. Lane 7, Athletics Waverley, AWA, Alyson Jansen. Lane 7, Grace Wilson from Doncaster. 8 is Poppy Williams, unattached. Then 9, Kate Kennedy, Mentone. 10, Talia Warsome, Box Hill. And to round out the field, Kaylee Mansion from Essendon.
And Mick, we've got 5 athletes here who have all remarkably run 2 minutes 40 on the dot. Incredible. So we see who can take it out of the 5 of them.
It's a common barrier there. A lot of these athletes would be looking to break if you're sort of round about that mark. It's a bit of a milestone, getting under 240 for the 2 laps. A nice clean number that would be looking to go underneath. So what would we expect to see his first lap in, do you think, Mitch?
I reckon they're going to go out pretty fast. The past 2 races, they've definitely gone out pretty hard, so we'll see if the girls can follow suit, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's a fast first lap and then hold on for a PB from there, which is typically how they seem to go here in the 800s. So,
absolutely, especially in some of the lower heats, it's usually a bank time early type tactic. We might see around 72, 73 second lap, but in some of the later races might be more evenly timed. So we'll see how this one plays out.
Yeah, I mean, I often find with this meets from when I used to run them that I think tactics sort of go out the window a little bit, and you just want to be able to run a fast time. So hopefully the girls can, either have a buffer in their second lap or pace themselves well enough to be able to come through for a PB. So it is the home of PB. So we'll see if they can hit the nail on the head here.
as we are in the starter's hands. And a strong move from Welford in the yellow singlet in the middle of the track so far. The athlete from Mentone, she is running very well and will go into the 100 metres in first position with the rest of the field to follow. They will get quite spread out as the race progresses, about 15 odd seconds between their season's best, which will be about 100 metres at the finish line. But it's all Welford and the athlete from Box Hill in, it looks like Ruby Aitken, clearing the first 200 metres ahead of the field.
Yeah, and they're just going to work off each other really well here. They both found themselves in a great position off the gun, so we'll see if they can maybe share the lead a little bit or whether they're just going to let Welford just take it from the gun. But it's nice and spread out, which indicates a fast pace, as Jimmy said earlier. So we'll see if the girls who are running a little bit wide towards the back of the pack there can find their spot before they come into the bell lap. But it is all still Jessica Welford and Ruby Aitken at the front, as now they start to bunch up a little bit more coming into the bell. But a pretty good pace on them, I would say, as we're about to get the 400-metre split. And we're probably right, Mick, they are going to go out a little bit faster than what their PBs might indicate. We're going through in 75 seconds there, so we're right on track for a lot of PBs out here. And now Welford goes again, so we'll see who can go with her.
Aslyn Jansen is the other athlete right up there, the athlete from AWA, who have since found out is Athletics Waverley, not Athletics Western Australia. If we were watching national championships.
Would have been an unbelievable trip for Milers Club.
To knock that 240 barrier. So Welford is just been overtaken by Ruby Aitken, the home track specialist on the back straight, as we see the athletes quite spread out now. About 80 metres the difference between the first runners and the final runners in this women's G race.
Yeah, and I'd say it's stayed pretty consistent. That overtaking there of Welford has really been the only move made within the field. They've all stayed in their position quite well, but I reckon we've got a battle on the front here because she's not going away, Jessica Welford. And she's done a lot of the early work, but Ruby Aitken on the home track wants to take the win, and they're going to come into the straight neck and neck, so we're going to see who has the most juice in the legs. They're right next to each other here. We're going to see who's got it on the inside. It could be Ruby Aitken, sorry. Jessica Welford now drops back, but Ruby Aitken, she's going to take it out in 2:34. So that's a 6-second PB, a 4-second PB there for Welford, and great running as the rest of the athletes start to come through now as we see Rihanna Watts now.
Jansen in third position there, Rihanna Watts as well. We have Talia Warsome, the other home track athlete. Number 5, Emma Ocher, and Susan Howe now just crossing the line. Kaylee Mangan, the athlete from Essendon, all under 3 minutes for the 2 laps.
I'd say a fair few PBs there in that group, so they all look pretty stoked down there. That's awesome to see so early in the night as well, and early in the season for a lot of these athletes. So great to knock a PB out of the way and really get your confidence up heading into the rest of the summer. So great running from the girls.
Definitely. Ruby Aitken knows the 2 bends and the 2 straights of this 400-metre track at Box Hill all too well. You'd think all athletics tracks are about the same, but we'll spruik and Hotown advantage here for Ruby. Came home very strong in that race as we look towards the men's H. So the third men's 800-metre race of the evening. James Coleman.
So in lane number 1, Brodie Atchison of Mornington Peninsula. In lane 2, Hayden Rook of Yarra Rangers. Lane 3, Noel White of Essendon. Lane 4, Kennedy Chen of Box Hill. Lane 5, Matthew De Bruin of Glen Huntly. Lane 6, Robert Crimmins of Essendon. Lane 7, Craig Hewitson of Yarra Rangers. And in lane 8, Nicholas Martin of Knox Athletics.
And, well, this is going to be a very tightly bunched race. Like there are a number of women in the 240 range, or 240 seed time exactly in the last race. There are 6 of these athletes who have quoted a season's best of 2 minutes and 20 seconds and a couple on 2 minutes 18. So we expect to see all these runners pretty tightly bunched.
So all the way pretty evenly at this stage. Hard to pick who's got the best start. Maybe the youngster on the inside, Brodie Atchison, in the bright orange.
Hayden Rook is moving pretty nicely on his shoulder as well. The tall figure from Yarra Rangers in the white singlet. But Atchison probably in pretty comfortable position here in lane 1 right on the rail, James, as they are tightly bunched as we expected they would be.
Yeah, so tightly bunched, and then just they've gone around the 200. It'll be Craig Hewitson of Yarra Rangers made a bit of a move. So maybe they slowed up just a little bit on the back straight. We'll probably want to see something about a 67 or so through that first lap. Remember, 2:18, the fastest seed time, but most of our competitors entering with a time of 2:20.
As we one lap into this 2-lap race, we see Robert Crummins, the athlete from Essendon, charge towards the front of the field and gap the rest of the athletes. Kennedy Chen from Box Hill isn't going to let him get away too easily as he leads the second pack through to chase Robert Crummins, our current leader.
Yeah, Crummins really making a pretty decisive move. About 300 into this race. It's split the field up pretty well. Nicholas Martin of Knox, though, putting his hand up to go after him.
Look at those legs tick over so quickly. We see that with those younger athletes, they need to move their legs twice the speed of their older counterparts.
Yeah, he's got some good efficiency too. So there's another athlete, though, right on his tail. So it looks like they're going to catch Crimmins here, unless Crimmins can respond over this last 100. He might have enough in him, but this is fantastic running from Nicholas Martin. He's kicked off the bend. Those legs are still ticking over ever so fast. Crimmins trying to hang on to that second place. He won't quite get there. It'll be Matthew de Bruin of Glen Huntley that's run strong. But wow, look at those times. 2:14 for our winner. We have our whole field almost under 2:20 here. Just about. Craig Hewitson rounding out the field there, but some fantastic running.
It looked like 6 or 7 of the athletes all under 2:20. Keeping in mind, a couple did enter with 2:18 seed times, but I would suspect that at least half of our field then just collected PBs or season's best. So not bad running tonight so far at Milers Club.
Yeah, it must be a fast track tonight.
Home of PBs, apparently.
Home of PBs.
Absolutely the home of PBs here at Box Hill. And Matt de Bruin, a former world junior athlete over the 110-metre hurdles.
Oh, wow.
2014 Eugene World Juniors. So a big rise in distance, you would probably say.
Yeah,
Focused his attention
maybe.
on footy for a while, so good to see him back on the track.
You have done your research, Mitch. I like it.
Yeah, I know a few little tidbits.
Could it be a bit of a decathlete in the making, perhaps?
Hey, are we starting that here? Is that...
Maybe.
They
You heard
said
it here
it.
first.
They said that live stream is going to be a decathlete.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll have to wait and see. I hope so, as we've got the men's G800 on the start line now. We have Lachlan Marasco of Doncaster in hip 1, Remy Williams, hip 2 of Doncaster, Amnol Benipal of South Melbourne in hip number 3, Daniel Clark, South Melbourne, hip number 4, Hudson Bucci of Mentone, number 5, Lachlan Dess of... You're going to have to
Geelong
help me.
Guild.
Thank you very much. Number 6, Xavier McDonald, St. Kevin's, number 7, and Zachary Norton of Doncaster in number 8. And that is a great-looking mullet on the outside there from Xavier McDonald of St. Kevin's. And he's going to go out flying, and he's going to use it to his advantage. So we've also got on the inside there from Doncaster, Remy Williams. And he's going to try and get out quick. But I think it is going to be our St. Kevin's athlete and Xavier McDonald who's going to cross over first. And these boys aren't messing about.
No, not messing about at all. McDonald going right to the lead. And you can see they've strung out nicely. A nice long line. That's what we want to see. All the athletes can tuck in on the fast pace, get a little bit of shelter from the minimal wind that we've probably got out there tonight.
Yeah, and Lockie Dess of Geelong Guild, he's come a long way and he's not going to mess about. He's here to run a fast time, so he now takes the lead. And he's a tall figure within himself, so I'm sure the boys will be happy to break the wind off behind him. So they're nicely bunched up as you shed, Jim, as they're about to come here for the 400-metre split. But it is going to be Dess of Geelong who's going to lead them through. And we have a few Doncaster boys in here, but I believe that's Zachary Norton right behind him. So a 65 through at the bell, and we'll see who's going to move with them as our South Melbourne athlete now right behind them. But it is Des still in front, heading around to 300 metres to go.
Yeah, going to be Benapole just stuck in there, but one of our Doncaster athletes making a big, strong move on the outside.
That's Zachary Norton.
Oh, that's a good move there from Norton. He's pulling away now for sure. Can Des respond? Maybe Benapole in the South Melbourne uniform sitting in third place. He's had a nice little sit behind them.
Well, Norton, that boy is moving now. He drops the arms down and he is going to try and unwind with 150 to go. But you might be right. Benapole, he's going to try and respond with 100 to go. So I'll be really impressed if he can catch up on his shoulder because Norton looks pretty content at the front. But Benapole, he's going to move up. But I think Norton's probably a bit too far away now as he's going to come down the line with a great finish and a really well-timed race. He's going to hit the line at 2:11, 2:12. Benapole in 2:13. Des, who did a lot of the work early there, in 2:15. As the rest of the field comes through, Xavier McDonald and our other Doncaster athlete, Lachlan Marasco. So a pretty tight race, but a great finish.
Yeah, certainly a great finish. Benapole maybe just left it a little bit too late. Norton looked very strong. He was always going to be tough to beat when he made that move. About 2:50 to go.
Yeah,
Helps when he's got his teammates there with him.
Yeah,
the
he
Doncaster
was
trio.
not messing about on that back straight. He was ready to rock and roll, and I thought Des put up a really brave race there, and he'll be pretty happy with his performance, I'd say. So good racing all round, and a good start to the night as we move on to our next race here, which is the women's F800, and a pretty big field at that. So we'll try and get through them here. Zali Nadge of Box Hill in hip number 1, Carly Hurley of Ringwood in number 2, Ellie Kewish of Essendon number 3, Claire Beaton-Wells of St Stephen Harriers number 4, Rihanna Clemow of Mentone number 5, Emily Chambers unattached number 6, Molly Tozer of Box Hill number 7, Vicky Malamus also of Box Hill number 8, Madeline Bashirudin of Geelong Guild in number 9, Justine White of CHI. Someone help me out here.
Chilwell.
Thank you, Chilwell. I need to know the Geelong ones better. Number 10, Chloe Warmington of BHA. Oh, Ballarat. Know that one. Number 11, and Chloe Anderson of, I believe, Diamond Valley, number 12. So a pretty big field here in the women's F800.
You'll nail those abbreviations by the end of the night, Mitch.
A
few of those tricky ones will just stick in our mind.
I really hope so. I've got my fingers crossed. So we'll try and get the seed times up here to see how fast spread this race is. But a field of 12 may indicate that it will be a good range in times.
It's about 5 seconds splitting the field. So 2:35 will be the leaders to seed time about 2:40. So it should be relatively bunched. And a fair few athletes, more than half the field, has quoted 2:35 as their seed time. So there isn't too much going to be in it at the top of the field, I would suspect.
Yeah, I think that's Rihanna Clemow of Mentone there in hip number 5 who's got the fastest seed time coming in. So we'll see how she goes off this gun. But a big field, so you're going to want to find your spot early. There's going to be a little bit of carnage, I imagine, when they cross in. And they're in the starters' hands now. And we're away, so we'll see who can get to the front as they all want to get a very good start. Some people are more inclined to want to sit at the back. They're going to back their kick in a little bit more than others, but it looks like it's going to be nicely spread, and they all might be lucky here. They might be able to find a spot pretty quickly.
I think Zali Nudge from Box Hill on the inside, she might be one of the leaders, as is the other Box Hill athlete in Molly Tozer, it looks like. They're being led out by a pacemaker in this race, I believe. So throughout the evening, we'll start to see more and more pacemakers helping the athletes along. It is a PB, mate, and it looks like it's going to be making PBs a lot easier when we have someone to follow.
Yeah, well, I take my words back. There wasn't carnage whatsoever. These girls just slotted beautifully into a single file position. So the two Box Hill athletes at the front and they're going to work well off each other and also off the pacemaker. We'll see how long she can hold on for, but right now it's a little bit hard to tell where everybody is positioned. So when they come past us here at the 400-metre mark, we'll get a little bit more of an insight as to where they are. But it looks like Claire Beaton-Wells of St Stephen's is going to sit on the outside of our 2 Box Hill athletes there. We come through the bell in 71 seconds, so they're certainly on for a good time here, and we'll see what happens. But now athletes start to move their way into lane 2 to try and get towards the front with 300 metres to go, and it's going to be a pretty interesting last 300 here, I'd say, Mick.
Exactly. It's the athlete in the green crop leading the field. The pacemaker just drops off now, so the athletes are all on their own to tackle this last 300 metres as Claire Beaton-Wells from St Stephen's leads the second pack, following that could be Chloe Anderson from Diamond Valley, who has gapped the field by about 5 to 10 metres.
Yeah, and she's run on extremely well since the pacemaker stepped off with 300 metres to go. As now we start to see Emily Chambers, our unattached athlete, now making her way up to Chloe Anderson. So we'll see if Chloe's able to hold on with 150 metres to go. But Emily Chambers has timed her race perfectly, what it seems. We'll see how the last 100 goes, but she's looking incredibly strong in the hat there. Chloe Anderson still's holding on to second place, as we see Claire Beaton-Wells, who's been around the front the whole race, now start to move into second. So a great race here from Emily Chambers. She's going to come down to the line, and she's going to hit it at 2:28 there. So a great performance. Claire Beaton-Wells now at 2:30. Chloe Anderson, who did a lot of the work early, 2:33. And a big group of girls now are starting to make their way through. So there'll be a lot of happy campers there, I'd say, Mick. But a great race, perfectly timed.
Absolutely. The first 3 or 4 of those athletes, or 5 even, under around that 2:35 mark. So they've definitely collected PBs there. Also, the invitational athlete in Anderson coming away with the win there, and a huge amount of time under that seeded time. So we could be seeing advisor theory maybe. Last time at Miles Club, we had the mullet theory.
Yep.
Mullets make you run well. You know, we might see more visors out on the track tonight.
Maybe it could be trending. We could get a hashtag on that or something. But I think it is visor season. That's a great opening for it if it is. So
yeah, triathletes worked that out many years ago. The runners just haven't got onto it yet.
Yeah, here we go. Well, now we're about to get onto it.
Now we see a win. Everyone's taking notice. And the men's F800 metres will be the next one on the track. Later on in the night, we see the women's and men's A races, and there is going to be some prize money incentives to get under certain times, but we will turn our attention towards this men's F race, and we'll bring you more information about the cash incentives a bit later.
So our next race up on the track, the men's F800 in lane 1, Daniel Littlejohn of Diamond Valley. Lane 2, Mark Bernstein, one of our unattached athletes. Lane 3, Bob Abdulrahim of Knox. Lane 4, Harvey Anderson, unattached. Lane 5, Mason Johns of Collingwood. Lane 6, Trevor Newen of Athletics Waverley. Lane 7, Jet Schofield of Wellington. Lane 8, Mikael Susan of Glen Huntley. And in lane 9, Ashton Sin of Doncaster Athletics. So...
Mikael Susan. I like that name. I reckon he's going to win.
We'll see as we've got out. He's going to tuck in a little towards the back there, Susan. But out the front at the moment, Trevor Newen of Athletics Waverley. He's sporting the new Waverley Malvern singlet. So athletes strung out pretty well. The pace will be fast, and I mean, that's what we expect here at these milers meets. We're not sitting and kicking, trying to get wins. We're all out trying to run fast times. It's exactly what we want to see, and it's a perfect night for it.
Now it looks like Mark Bernstein coming up onto the shoulder and overtaking our previous leader as they go through the first lap of this 2-lap race. So Bernstein coming through in first position, Trevor Newen closely following. The athlete from Wellington in Jet Schofield will be our top 3 going into 1 lap to go.
So Bernstein looks like he's sporting the Melbourne High singlet. He's out here certainly throwing his stakes down. He's looking fantastic at this stage. Brave move. It's probably at about 500 metres he's made this charge, and it just seems to be extending on his lead. Newen in second. still looking pretty good.
We see the young fella in the red singlet on the back straight as well, passing, almost going into third position. There's a bit of a battle on for third, but it's all Bernstein out the front, clearing about 50 metres or so on the rest of the field as he will enter the front straight ahead of the rest.
Yeah, Bernstein, fantastic running now. There's a good move made. Jet Schofield of Wellington. He's timed his run very well. But you're right about this battle for third. Newen's trying to get there. Harvey Anderson, the youngster, pushing right to the end. I think Newen might have just dipped him.
Mason John's coming in next. Dylan Littlejohn.
Dylan Littlejohn.
Thinking of Daniel John, Silverchair fame.
Ah.
That's where you get confused.
Common misconception.
Okay.
Yeah, fantastic run from Bernstein. Certainly putting his hand up to get amongst some of these higher rated Milers Club meets or heats, hopefully in early next year.
So go back to the incentives they were talking about earlier. When we get into the higher seed races, or maybe these ones, you never know. A 2:02 time of 2:02 or better for women's 800 will get you a prize of $500 from the Vic Milers Club. 2:04 or under will get you $125. So that's sort of range. We probably won't see it in this race here tonight, but that's something that we look forward to in the women's A race later on, boys.
Yeah, certainly. And with Georgia Griffith running, I think there's certainly a chance of some of those maybe cash incentives being handed out.
Yeah, you take an extra $500 on a Tuesday night, so hopefully we can see some fast running from the girls as we've got women's E800 on the track right now, and you're right, who knows? It could come in any of these heats. You never know what the supply package is. But in hip number 1, Chloe Johnston unattached. Number 2, Emily Misford of Essendon. Number 3, Lottie Callum of Box Hill. Number 4, Remy McKay, also of Box Hill. Number 5, Charlotte Ball of Box Hill. Number 6, Pippa Dillon of Box Hill. Number 7, Kiara Baker of Doncaster. Number 8, Sophia Armstrong of
Bellarine, I'm going to guess.
Yeah, good guess. I like it. Number 9, Aisha Cassidy of Box Hill. Number 10, Annabelle Smith unattached. And number 11, Ruby Schultz of Box Hill. So a lot of home ground advantage in this race, and it's going to be a really interesting one to try and figure out who is where from the other side of the track.
So I'm going to apologise in advance if we when we mix up these Box Hill.
Really, our apologies there, but they're all out quick and they're all going to try and find a position as we've got the pacemaker back in here to try and take them through in a very comfortable first lap. So she's had no issues to get to the front there, and it is a sea of Box Hill, I think, at the front. So we'll try and call them as we can see them, but the girls are nicely bunched there, 200 metres into the race. And I'm going to let you have a crack at this one, Jimmy, if you can try and figure out who's
I
out
think
in
it
front.
might have been Charlotte Ball. That's the Box Hill girl leading at the moment. Certainly, it's the 3 girls from the inside. So if you go back to our start list, Lottie Callum, Remy McKay and Charlotte Ball. But we'll get a good ID on their hip numbers as they come around here.
Yeah, we'll see how we can go here. I'm trying to get a read here 50 metres away as they're about to come up to the bell. And that is on the inside there. It's Lottie Callum of Box Hill, and on the outside, Ruby Schultz. Right behind them is Charlotte Ball and also Aisha Cassidy coming through in about 1:12, 1:13. So it is literally about 6 Box Hill athletes at the front there. But on the inside, it is Lottie Callahan. On the outside, Ruby Schultz. So as they change, we'll try and figure that one out. But they've given the pacemaker about 5 metres, and she may step off here, and she does. So now it's just a big contingent of Box Hill athletes to try and work their way out with 300 metres to go. And I believe that's Aisha Cassidy now on the outside of Lottie Callahan. So good luck here with 200 metres to go as they now all start to jostle a position. So I can't really tell who that is, but it's going to be a hell of a finish, I'm going to say.
Yeah, I can't believe it. There's 6 or 7 of those Box Hill girls. I mean, I'm sure a lot of these girls train together, so there's going to be some bragging rights on the line right here. 7 Box Hill girls all there. That's fantastic to see. I mean, it's such a good feeling when you're in a race and you've got your training partners and your teammates around you. It feels just like practice, but I tell you what, coming off the bend, these girls want to beat each other so badly.
And that's
So Remy McKay of
Ruby
Box Hill, Ruby
Schultz
Schultz
on the
on the inside.
Doncaster.
But the Doncaster athlete coming to spoil the party.
Sophia Armstrong.
I think she's just done
taken
it.
Oh, no.
She's just done it.
Oh, well timed, but she's overrun the 7 Box Hill athletes there. And a great run by other girls, and you're right. Working together as a team is always a great feeling, but the Lone Ranger of the Doncaster athlete there has come right on the outside and has pipped them literally at the line, and you probably couldn't get a more perfectly timed race than that. That's sensational running from Sophia Armstrong there of Doncaster. And I think you're right. There's probably a lot of training partners there.
We're going to have to apologise. It's Kiara Baker, Doncaster athlete.
My bad, Kiara. I apologise. It was a hard read.
And apologise we must, because that was a fantastic race. She did everything right. We had one job to call it, and we couldn't quite do that. But Kiara Baker, fantastic job. She really did time that well and just came out of nowhere on that back straight. We're all worried about Box Hill, but
no one was watching the Doncaster. No. We got distracted.
Yep, and in an 800, I tell you what, that final straight, it's a long way, isn't it?
It is. It seems like a mile away. It never seems close, put it that way. So as we move through now into the men's E800 metres, hip number 1, Peter Costanza of Ringwood. Hip number 2, Dylan Egawadi of Keilor St Bernard's. Number 3, Jared Zawotsky of Maccabee Athletics. Number 4, Oliver Armstrong of Geelong Guild. Number 5, Craig Sanford of Waverley, Athletics Waverley. Number 6, Noah Wright of Yarra Rangers. Number 7, Chris Sutton of Old Zavarians. Number 8, Elias Stott of Geelong Guild. Number 9, Samuel Lowe of Malvern, thank you. And number 10, Max Jones of Chilwell. So getting a little bit better with the Bellarine clubs, but I've still got a bit to learn with the rest of them.
And the highest seeded athletes in this race, Mitch, 204 is for Craig Sanford. Oliver Armstrong, the athlete from Geelong Guild in the green, is a 205 man, and Noah Wright from Yarra Rangers is also a 205 guy. They should be pretty tightly bunched with only 5 seconds separating them.
Old Zav athlete who's out there right now, and I believe that's Chris Sutton. So he's going to try and make the pace extremely honest, and he's not going to give too many others a chance to get to the front. He's got about 5-10 metre lead there as the rest of them now filter their way into the lane 1 on the back straight. But first 200 metres, he's gone out in 27 seconds, so he's not messing about there, our Old Zad's athlete. He's going for a PB.
Or is he going for the cash incentive?
He might have heard us.
$147, $500 will get him. So
someone's tipped him off.
Noah Wright having a strong run as well, the athlete from Yarra Rangers. He's sitting in second position as we speak. Dylan Endogale is in the mix as well, the athlete from Keilor St Bernard's. From Waverley, we have
58 seconds through the bell there from Chris Sutton. And now they start to make their presence known. The rest of the field's going to try and see if they can claw back any distance. But Sutton, he's got about 25 metres heading into the back straight. And I think the rest of them may be doing a lot of work to try and catch him, but you never know. I believe that's Samuel Lowe there who's going to lead that chase pack. And our fastest athlete with the seed time, Craig Sanford of Waverley, just in the pack there. So we'll see if Sutton's able to hold on. He might be tightening up a little bit here with 200 metres to go. I'd be happy to be proved wrong as the rest of the field now start to make their way up. They're creeping up on his shoulder here, Mick, and we'll see who can bring it home.
I'll tell you what, his legs are not moving as fast as the guys behind him right now as we see that gap start to rapidly close with the athlete from, is it Maccabi, who takes the lead.
Zawoski here.
Jared Zawoski charges into the home straight. Noah Wright from Yarra Rangers is right there as well. The athlete from Geelong Guild in Elias Scott. He makes a strong finish, as does Craig Scamford from Waverley.
206 there, great run. The grimace on his face, he wanted it bad as the rest of them blanket finished through there. And coming through now, Max Jones of Chilwell. But again, a pretty close race from start to finish. But
very gutsy from Chris Sutton, the athlete from Old Zavarians. He clearly was after a time, and sometimes you just got to try different things, put it out on a line, And, yeah, see how far your fitness will take you.
Yeah, exactly right. He was going to make it honest, and he was going to make his own luck out there. So a lot of respect for that. That's extremely hard to do, to be able to go out that hard and try and hold on for as long as he did. It's very admirable. But you got to give credit to Jared Zawoski there of Maccabee. He absolutely flew home down that front straight, something that I've never been able to do. So I'm quite jealous. So a great run there, and a great run from all the boys in the field.
So next on the track, we will have the women's D race, but just go back to the prize incentives. When we get to the higher up men, they'll be chasing a 147 or faster for the $500 cash bonus. 147.1 to 148.5 is $250, and 148.6 to 149.5 is $125. So we will look with interest on those times as we get into the men's A races, James.
So in this next heat, this will be the women's D800. In lane 1, we have Romany Derbagosajan of Box Hill. Lane 2, Emily Mises of Essendon. Lane 3, Roxy Phipps of Box Hill. Lane 4, Diddy Dang of Box Hill. Lane 5, Jacinta McFarlane of Geelong Guild. Lane 6, Ruby Crisp of Ringwood. Lane 7, Ella Stiles of Geelong Guild. Lane 8, Audrey Savage of Essendon. Lane 9, Lydia Woolston of Box Hill. Lane 10, Alison Rogers of Essendon. And Lane 11, Ada Hill of Wellington.
Audrey Savage, I like that name, and she is seated amongst the fastest of them with a 2:28. The highest seated athlete in this race is Jessica McFarlane with a 2:25. She's the athlete from Geelong Guild in the green singlet in lane 5.
So what do you reckon? 2:25. We'll see about a 70 to 71 first lap.
I think so, judging by the other speedy first laps that we've seen across tonight. It probably won't be so even. Maybe even 69, I reckon.
I can't believe we're still seeing another 4 Box Hill athletes in this after that group of about 7 of them.
Just a training night for them, mate. Get down on the track, have a run.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Great to see, and obviously just evident of the middle distance powerhouse that Box Hill is. As much as it pains me to say.
The devote SSH boy.
Yeah, that's right. But now Box Hill, a very strong club, fantastic track. And looks to be a great night of racing.
And I think that is Jacinta McFarlane, the athlete we mentioned earlier from Geelong Guild, rounding the bend and coming into the front straight for the first time with a gap of a metre or so ahead of the swagger of Box Hill athletes.
So Lydia Woolston is the first of those Box Hill athletes. She's just sitting on the outside.
Lydia Woolston and
Romany Derbagosajan of Box Hill on the inside. But look at this nice little move made. So from Ringwood, Ruby Crisp, that is. Timed it very well. She saw the move.
She'll pass with authority as well, right on the shoulder of Jacinta McFarlane. Or will she? It looks like she was coming up very quickly, and now either McFarlane sped up or Chris just doesn't have the leg speed that she thought she did.
Or Crisp is just an intelligent, patient runner and just biding her time, slowly wanting to get to that final bend first.
That's an extra 3.5 metres every bend you run, one lane out, James. So I don't know how intelligent that might have been as she runs another bend in lane 2. But we'll see how this last 200 metres pays off. It looks like one person, Rayner. They're going for stride. Crisp and McFarlane, they may have raced a few races together and know what each other's strategies are.
I'd just like to point out, after you question my intelligence, Crisp has just made the fantastic move on the outside. It's early, and we've spoken about how long this straight is, so anything can happen, but Crisp fighting very hard at the moment.
She's had a strong race. She charges towards the finish line in 2:22, 2:23, 2:24, which would be a PB for her. Actually, that was Ella Stiles coming in for second position. McFarlane did fade into the pack, so it was probably Stiles and Crisp that were having that battle for the most of the race.
Yeah, they were.
That's right. Usually we're good at getting the names right, but...
yeah. We'll improve throughout the night.
That's our promise to everyone, is it? A few Essendon athletes in that race as well, as we see them coming off the track.
Yeah, there was 3 in that race.
So what's up next on the track? We have the men's D.
The men's
We're getting quick.
800. Oh, it's starting to heat up now, that's for sure.
Yeah, it certainly is, and we're going to call them out here. We're actually going to beat the starters to it. Usually they're on the line, so let's see how we go here. Number 1, Peter Holland of Box Hill. Number 2, Callum Day of St. Kevin's. Number 3, Jared Cripps of Diamond Valley. Number 4, Nathan Crowley of Williamstown. Number 5, Joshua Tram of Collingwood. Number 6 is our old Scotch athlete there in Robert Barber. Number 7, Mark Stodden of Richmond. And number 8, Will Lindsay, unattached. But he looks to have a St. Kevin's singlet on. So we're going to see how they go. Actually, 2 Trinity boys there running in St. Kevin's singlets. So that's an interesting one. But anyway, let's see how these boys go. We'll try and get some times here. But this would be quick racing, I'd imagine. There might be a few close to that 2-minute mark, if not under.
Yeah, 2:02 to 2:04 is our range of seed times in this. So really starting to get down to the pointy end. Maybe we'll start seeing some sub-2 800, which is certainly a barrier for the men in the 800.
And we're away here, and we're going to see who's going to try and take the lead there. And I reckon it's going to be Joshua Tram of Collingwood. He's going to try and make the pace honest. Nathan Crowley of Williamstown is going to tuck in behind him, and a return to the track for Will Lindsay there on the outside. We'll see how he crosses over, but it's all eyes on Joshua Tram of Collingwood as he approaches the 200 metre, and it's going to be quick like the last men's race before him, 27 seconds through the first 200, and our Williamstown athlete in Nathan Crowley behind him, Will Lindsay of St. Kevin's there in 3rd place as the rest of the field starts to work off each other, but it's pretty quick, and they don't look to be slowing down here, Jim.
Nah, not at all. I tell you what, Joshua Tram, absolute bullet out of a gate. He's maybe tiring up just a little bit here. A few of the athletes sit behind him. I really like the way Will Lindsay went about just slowly moving in across that break. So right on 60 seconds, it'll be tough to see a negative split in a sub-2, but 2:02 to 2:04, that's the PB times we have entered in this field. So how many can we see under that? Well, Joshua Tram still looking pretty good, pretty smooth.
Yeah, he's looking really good. 300 metres to go here. And this group of 3 has worked extremely well together. So we'll see if Lindsay can hold on to the back of that. Anything can happen with 200 metres to go. But it is all our Collingwood athlete and Joshua Tram. He's done it all. As we're going to hit the 200 metres to go, 131, 132. So let's see if they can wind up here. Will Lindsay's legs are moving as he's on the back of the 3 there. But I don't mind the look of Nathan Crowley, who's been sitting there in 2nd place the whole way behind Joshua Tram. He's made him do all the work, but Tram is not giving up easy. And we're going to come down 100 metres to go, and there he goes there. Nathan Crowley of Williamstown around the outside of Joshua Tram, who's done all the work. Will Lindsay tightening up, and now we see our old Scotch athlete and Robert Barber come through for 3rd. But 2:02 on the clock there for Nathan Crowley, Joshua Tram, Barber, Lindsay, Holland. We also have Jared Cripps, and then our final athlete through there was Callum Day of St. Kevin's. So some great racing, but Nathan Crowley, he just sat there in 2nd and waited and waited and waited and attacked when he needed to, coming into the last 100 metres there. A great run from Joshua Tram of Collingwood. A gutsy way to do it, but great racing from all the boys there, and a good return to the track for Will Lindsay of St. Kevin's in 4th place. So great racing. Beautifully timed.
And we have the women's C race on the track at the moment. In lane 1, we have Karima Wakim from Collingwood. Lane 2, Sane Baka from Doncaster. Lane 3, Thiana Vijayakumar from Sandringham. Lane 4, Gracie Lee Egner from Ballarat. Lane 5, Jamison Battistella from Melbourne Uni. Lane 6, Abigail Thomas from Western Athletics. Lane 7, Stella Crawford Rust from Box Hill, another home track athlete here at Miles Club tonight. In lane 8, Julie Fit from Box Hill. Lane 9, Genevieve O'Brien from Glen Huntley. Lane 10, Callie McLeod from Eureka. Lane 11, to round out the field, Annabelle Laird from Box Hill.
So another really full women's race. We've had a lot more women in these heats than we have for the men. A lot of doubling up of the lanes.
Jamison Ballestella, the multi-eventer, is the highest seeded athlete at 220, as is Abigail Thomas from Western Athletics. So they'll be around the middle of the pack in lanes 5 and 6. So a couple to watch out for in the early stages as Jamison Battistella charges towards the front. Genevieve O'Brien on her inside, the athlete from Glen Hunley, making a fast start as well as they settle in down the back straight.
Yeah, and I know I said a little bit earlier with a big field that it was going to be a little bit of carnage, and there wasn't. But right now, it looks like they're all trying to find a position. But our Glen Huntley athlete and Genevieve O'Brien, she's going to lead them out through the first 200 metres, and she's looking incredibly comfortable at doing that. The rest of the girls now trying to find their spot, and they've actually strung out quite nicely after I said that there was some carnage. So they're clearly going against what I have to say, and it looks like a Box Hill athlete right in there behind, which could be Annabelle Laird, or it could be one of our other two athletes.
It could be Stella Crawford, could be Julie Fitt.
It's a hard one to tell. I only looked at the first Box Hill name I could see, but they're now nicely bunched coming up to 400 metres to go. And on the outside there,
Abigail Thomas from Western Athletics is looking strong as she passes the field with 1 lap to go. In lane 2, or hip number 2, Sunny Backer from Doncaster is sitting in 3rd position. She's looking good as well. Did we get a hip number on the Box Hill athlete as they came through? That was Julie Fitt in 2nd position. So Abigail Thomas striding out, 300 metres to go. She's ever so slightly extending her lead as Julie Fitt chases. Sunny Backer leads the rest of the pack with 250 metres to go.
Yeah, and Sunny Backer looking really strong. But now, as I believe that is Karima Wakim now coming around the outside with 200 to go. So she's going to try and chase down our race leader here with 200 metres to go. And her leg turnover is looking elite as she now comes up with 150 metres to go at the water barrier. And she's not slowing down. She's going to round around our lead athlete here as Karima Wakim now strides out down the home straight. And a lot of these moves tonight have been made coming into the last 100 metres.
Classic sit and kick by Karima Wakim. Only 50 metres to go. Jamison Battistella finishing strongly. The strong multi-event athlete, as is Genevieve O'Brien. But Karima Wakim will take out the race in 2 minutes and 20 seconds, followed by Jamison Battistella, Abigail Thomas, Jen O'Brien. Sunny Backer was right up there as well. Gracie Lee Egner.
I believe this is Annabelle Laird coming through now. So there's a lot of girls down there looking extremely fatigued. They've put their all into it here tonight, and you couldn't not ask for a better night of racing. And we've had a lot of PBs already early, so as we start to get into the higher graded races, can't wait to see what they can produce. But fantastic running from the girls there. A lot of happy faces, but a lot of tired faces as well. So great to see.
Now we have the men's C race next on the track. In lane 1 is Hugh Parrott of Doncaster. Lane 2, Jaron Hobbs of Geelong Guild. Lane 3, Ewan Webber of Box Hill. Lane 4, Jack Green, Invitational. Lane 5, Geordie Hoare of Mentone. Lane 6, Thomas Scroggy of St Kevin's. Lane 7, Lachlan Doman of Box Hill. Lane 8, Camden Hewinson of Yarra Rangers. And to round out the field, Lane 9, or hip number 9, actually lane 4, will be Kirk Shanahan of the mighty Western Athletics. I reckon that was the first one I've got out without stuffing up a name, James. I'm pretty proud of that.
Good job, mate. Well done,
hang on,
well
is this
done.
mic on?
Yeah, it is for the world to hear.
It's all right, I'm
the
telling
world to
everyone I'm
witness.
proud of myself. I don't
No.
mind.
Nicely done. I tell you what, another close field, 158 to 201. So wouldn't it be nice to see the entire field under 2 minutes? Do you reckon it can happen here?
Yeah, if I'm being positive, yes, it can.
we're always
let's be positive.
Yeah.
Yes, it absolutely can. Everyone's going to get under 2 minutes. So around a 58-second first lap would set them up very nicely. Highest seeded athletes, Geordie Hoare from Mentone in lane 5. Here's one to watch early on. Thomas Scroggy of St Kevin's in lane 6. Will we see a bit of a sit and kick race maybe? As Hugh Parrott in lane 1, Doncaster just stumbles on the line. Starter will get them resettled.
Yeah, the nerves will be high here.
Man, there's a bit of a crowd is building on the back straight. Box Hill, how's the atmosphere out here tonight?
Yeah, great atmosphere. Maybe just a little bit of a sneak peek of what we've got to come on Saturday night for the Zatopek 10.
Hugh Parrott and Thomas Scroggy, the athletes in yellow. Also Geordie Hoare will be 3 yellow singlets to lead the way through the first 150-odd metres. Thomas Scroggy will lead them out into Hugh Parrott and Geordie Hoare. followed by Camden Hewinson of Yarra Rangers.
I tell you what, Scroggy's looking very relaxed at the front at the moment. I reckon Parrott too, but I mean, Geordie Hoare, he's sitting in second in that reverse Richmond kit, is looking very comfortable as well. All these fellas making a very quick pace, look very easy.
You're saying it's the Richmond away kit is Mentone?
Yeah, that's it. That's it. That's the kit that Richmond won the 2017 Premiership in. And I'm sure he's going to do them proud. 57 seconds through that first lap. So setting themselves up in a fantastic position to break that 2-minute barrier. Scroggy pulling away just a little bit at the moment. Parrott, the Doncaster athlete, sitting in third position. Running well, but have a look at our Geelong Guild athlete. He's wearing the green singlet.
Jaron Hobbs.
Yeah, he's moved up into fourth.
Camden Hewinson is aggressively chasing as a bit of a gap to Kirk Shanahan of Western Athletics and our Box Hill athlete in Ewan Webber to round out this field. Will they get under 2 minutes? I'm not so sure. But we turn our attention back to Thomas Scroggy as he puts a bigger gap into Geordie Hoare as they enter the front straight here. 100 metres to go.
I tell you what, Geordie Hoare is charging on the last bend. Charging like Richmond were in the second half of the 2017 Grand Final, but maybe not enough time left. Scroggy just going to hold him off.
157 PB for both these boys. So could we get the whole field under 2 minutes? Not quite.
Well, we're pretty close. We're pretty close.
Few good runs in there. Thomas Scroggy collected a PB as Geordie Hoare. He put his PB down as 158, so he would have been around about that mark as well. So that was a pretty interesting race, actually.
It actually was a very interesting race.
Seemed surprised.
Yeah, I don't know why.
I don't know why I was
plenty
like,
of good races here.
Of course, it was a good race.
At these milers clubs. So we're now up to the women's B 800, getting right to the pointy end at the moment. Ooh. In hip number, or wearing hip number 1 will be Kiralee Turver of Mornington Peninsula. With hip number 2, Hannah Williams of Doncaster. Hip number 3, Brianna Sherry of Casey Cardinia. Hip number 4, Anna Kasapis of Old Scotch. Hip number 5, Simone Mayaday of Collingwood. Hip number 6, Indigo Lind of Yarra Rangers. Hip number 7, Rachel Lindberg of Box Hill. Hip number 8, Mia Pope of Box Hill. Hip number 9, Stephanie Larkin of Doncaster. And in hip 10, Monica Clark of Old Zavarians. So 2:16, our fastest seed time in this of Simone Mayaday, our Collingwood athlete. Hip number 5 right in the centre of the field.
And Jimmy, without prior knowledge, do you have a tip here just by looking at the field and the feel of the night?
The feel of the night.
Give us your vibe.
Well, the Box Hill athletes have been running well all night, so I'll go with our fastest seeded Box Hill athlete, Rachel Lindberg.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
There's a lot of reason to that, so I'll give you that. The pacemaker is going to find herself at the front nicely here, which is fantastic. Sometimes you see them struggle a little bit. Somebody wants to take it out fast, and I think that's Monica Clark on the inside there, hip number 10, who might try and find her way to the front. No, she's just been cut off there by the Box Hill athlete. So, Jim, it's already looking good here. 200 metres into the race. I know there's a lot left to run, but it's looking really good here at 200, and we see Simone Melidorette there, right behind our Box Hill athlete. And I believe that's actually Mia Pope. I don't think Rachel Lindberg is out there. So these girls are going to find a really nice sit behind the pacemaker and maybe take them around to 300 metres to go. But the rest of the field nicely bunched. I reckon there's going to be a lot of movement coming into the back straight of this last lap, Jim.
Yeah, certainly. And seeing as that the athlete I picked wasn't in the race, I'm going to pick another athlete. And Simone Mayaday looking fantastic. She's our fastest seated athlete. She's had that beautiful sit in second position, and we can see her just edging herself on the outside shoulder of Mia Pope. So Pope, Mayaday, and Monica Clark, who's sitting in third just behind them, all looking very strong at this stage.
Well, 300 metres to go. Looks like anything can happen here. His athletes are just coming out of the woodworks now to try and get to the front. But I think it is Simone Melidorette there at the front now. She's been right about there for the whole way. Mon Clark now starting to get on the shoulder too with 200 metres to go. But it is Simone Maldorette there.
Yeah, so
And on the
Mayday
outside
Kasapis too. She's moved up and she's presenting a very big threat at this moment. Again, we'll see this very long final 100 metres.
I think that's Steph Larkin of Doncaster, 400-metre hurdle state champion there on the outside. Mon Clark now starting to move her way through the two training partners out of the Nick Wall stable. And we'll see if Mon Clark can get to the front. I think she might just miss. So Collingwood athlete there and Simone Maldorette's going to take it. Clark second, Steph Larkin third. And a great run as the rest of the field starts to come through now. Mia Pope, who did a lot of the work early, comes through the line. And 2:24 there for the last athlete across. So not a great spread. A lot of them were really close. And that's great running. Fantastic running from the girls. And again, another really well-timed race. And Nick Wall straight down there to congratulate his athletes. He's never far away from an athletics track, Nick Wall. So great to see him down there so quickly, and a great run from all the girls there. It's been an unbelievable night of running thus far, Jim. It's
sure
just exciting. Home of PBs. I mean, couldn't get much better than this on a Tuesday night, I wouldn't have thought.
No, PB after PB. So we'll move up to the point now and I'll hand us over to the great Michael Massini to read out the field of this men's B800.
Don't put too much pressure on me, though. So in lane 1, we have Ethan Sin of Doncaster. Lane 2, Harrison Carr of, OSC, Old Scotch. Lane 3. Why'd you call me the Great, James? You threw me. Lane 3, Darcy Pound of Box Hill. Then Connor McIver, unattached. And Jamie Harrison, Glenn Huntley. William McCann, unattached. John Philippe Soulier of Old Scotch. Robert Capp of Mentone. Ashley Humphrey of Deakin. And talking about people who are great, Matthew Hussey of Western Athletics.
Well, we've got two South Australian athletes here in Will McCann and Connor McIver. So they've come down to run some fast times. And if I'm going to use a good feeling Jimmy prediction, I'm going to go with Darcy Pound here of Box Hill, the home ground advantage, the sheepdog, as they like to call him, 800 metre specialist, national championship finalist. So I think we're on for an absolute cracking race here if the boys can get out and get out fast. Darcy Pound did all the pacemaking actually last Milers Club, so good to see him racing this one through.
Absolutely. Matthew Hussey's first race in a little while. However, I know that he is year 12 and I'm unsure whether he did attend Schoolies Week recently or not. So let's see. We'll be keeping a keen eye on Matthew Hussey as well. He's won multiple state championships over a number of distances. So kicking off his season here will be Matthew Hussey sitting in lane 3 with hip number 10. But I like your predictions. A couple of the unattached athletes, our South Australians in the dark blue and the bright yellow singlets may be a force here.
Well, I think Will McCann in the yellow singlet is a little bit faster maybe than his seed time. So it's going to be interesting is our other South Australian athlete in Connor McIver. He's going to try and make it known through the middle of the pack, but it is the sheepdog in Darcy Pound who's going to try and take them out. And I think he's going to cross just in front of our Old Scotch athlete in Harrison Carr. And he will, but is that also Ash Humphreys, who's on the outside? So he's actually going to come across first in 26 seconds for the first 200. So as we start to go up in the seeded races, the times are only going to get faster, and these boys' legs are moving. It's like the road runner out there. So we're going to see Ash Humphreys going to lead them in to the home straight for the first time. Darcy Pound on his outside, Harrison Carr on the inside of that. Now South Australian athlete in McIver, Matt Hussey. We'll see how the schoolies, whether he was or was not there. We're going to see how that unfolds over the last 400. Darcy Pound now takes the lead 55 seconds through the first 400, and he's going to try and move away.
Are they going for the cash incentive here? 147 might not quite get there, but they're going to try their best. Darcy Pound, the home ground advantage. McCann is in the mix as well as in Harrison Carr in the red singlet. Matthew Hussey, he is moving well. His legs are ticking over quickly as he gets onto Harrison Carr's shoulder in the back straight, just chasing those South Australian boys. But we look to the head of the field and we see Darcy Pound at least maintaining that lead with 200 metres to go, Mitch.
Well, hey, I'll tell you what, Big Dog's got to eat, and Darcy Pound, the sheepdog, he is hungry. 150 metres to go. He went pretty early, but here comes Harrison Carr. Matt Hussey, I don't think he's gone to schoolies. He wants the win. Darcy Pound, he's still in the lead, 100 metres to go. Harrison Carr on his outside. Matt Hussey now, as he starts to move, he said, I didn't want schoolies. I wanted to chase down the sheepdog as he comes on the outside. Matt Hussey, he's going to take it. Darcy Pound, Carr, McCann. Wow, what a finish. I think that's a 155 there, so he'd be pretty happy with that. And Darcy Pound, he went early, 400 metres to go. He spent his bickies. And Matt Hussey, he ate him, gobbled him up, you could say, in the last 20 metres there. Great run. I'm going to say Schoolies wasn't on the cards, Mick. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I said it was unconfirmed, but just judging by that race alone, you'd say that he probably didn't go.
That is fantastic racing. As the South Australian boys as well came through quite quickly through the end there. Ash Humphreys did a lot of work early, and I think he'll be happy with the way that he performed. So great running there in the B800. Fantastic effort.
What a race. And, yeah, massive season opener from Matthew Hussey there. A bit of a sit and kick type tactic. As we look ahead to the women's A race, we have a few big names in this one, James. As we said earlier, their incentives was to break 2 minutes and 2 seconds. And if they do, they'll collect $500. That's first place athlete, of course.
Yeah, so certainly some athletes in this field capable of that. We'll read them out in order of their hip numbers. Number 1 will be Sophia Hanlon of Glen Huntly. Hip number 2, Claudia Carter of Glen Huntly. Number 3, Bridget Humphrey of Deakin. Number 4, Bernadette Williams, unattached. Number 5, Georgia Griffith of Box Hill. Lane 6, Lucinda Rourke of Williamstown. Lane 7, Ruby Marr of Box Hill. Lane 8, Rachel O'Brien of Wellington. And lane 9, Ruby Lackey, also of Wellington.
So I know Lucinda Rourke is a scratch in this race, so we only have 8 athletes lining up in the women's A race. 204, if the winner finishes the line, crosses the line in under 204, they'll still pick up $125. So Georgia Griffith in the middle, the tall figure in lane 5 would have to be the favourite amongst this field.
Oh, certainly. You can see that low bib number 8. It's because she is...
With the reef as well.
Yeah, with the wreath, an Australian representative in the Commonwealth Games and more recently the World Championships over in Doha. Very well experienced over the 8 and 15. So all the way pretty evenly. Doesn't look like we have a pacer in this field. I mean, it's you'd expect a 60-second first lap, a difficult task, but Georgia Griffith saying she wants nothing to do with the other girls. She's absolutely gone out.
She's here for work tonight.
She is.
Give me my money.
If you could pick up $500 or so on a Tuesday night.
Better than a training session, I guess. You would.
28 through the first 200.
Bernadette Williams is chasing her, and she does gap the rest of the pack, who is very tightly bunched, but Georgia Griffith will absolutely keep an eye on the clock as she progresses through this race, and she heads towards 60-second first lap, we would think.
So the rest of the girls fighting for that third position. Bridget Humphrey looks like she's now just gone around the outside to pull those girls through. The 2 girls from Wellington, Rachel O'Brien, Ruby Lackey.
Claudia Carter in the mix as well in that pack, the athlete from Glen Huntly. Bernadette Williams running very strong, although gapped quite impressively by Georgia Griffith in first position. Bernadette Williams absolutely leads the rest of the race ahead of Bridget Humphrey, the athlete from Deakin in the yellow crop top.
Yeah, this is fantastic running from Georgia Griffith. She's got a huge lead, and I mean, these are very talented girls all in this A race.
So it was about 135 through the 600 mark. She'll have to close very impressively to nudge under that 204 and get her $125 payday, but we'll see how the last 100 metres goes. Bernadette Williams is still moving very strong, and there may be a PB on the line for her as we see the rest of the field narrow in and close in that last 100 metres. Let's look at the clock for Georgia Griffith.
So about a 205 high. She'll just miss that 204 mark, but fantastic running very early in the season there from Georgia Griffith. Bernadette Williams in second, and Bridget Humphrey of Deakin rounding out third place. So fantastic strong run there from Georgia Griffith.
Impressive time to do solo as well. Just took it from the front. Tuesday night here at Box Hill, almost collected a bit of cash as well. Bernadette Williams, she's an athlete who's come across from Western Australia or Western Australia based, and she had a very strong run as well. PB of 204, which I didn't realise, so very strong run by Bernadette as we look to the men's A race.
Yeah, you and me.
And here we are, Jimmy, the men's A 800 metres. What a fantastic performance there by Georgia Griffiths, home track advantage. Stephen Ellinghouse, trained athlete. But here we are now. We'll start to call them out. And hip number 1, Jack Stummer of Box Hill. Alexander Rowe, St. Kevin's number 2. Luke Shaw, number 3, unattached. Stephen Nucky of St. Kevin's number 4. Robert Lister coming down from New South Wales, number 5. Grant Muir, number 6 of Chilwell. Andre Waring, number 7 of Box Hill. Jacob Reed of Deakin, number 8. Ben Moynihan of St. Kevin's, number 9. And Lachlan Hurd of Casey Cardinia, I believe, in number 10. So a pretty star-studded field here, obviously with Alex Rowe in the field, but Rob Lister, also a world junior performer a few years back. Andre Waring won on this track no more than a week or so ago, and he had a very strong performance in the first Vic Milers Club. So I think we're in for a cracking 800.
Yeah, it certainly is a fantastic field. 149.5 is the bottom of the incentive. 147 is the big incentive cash. It would be a big ask for some of these boys tonight, but it is a fantastic night here at Box Hill.
Well, I know we've banged on about it all night, but perfect conditions here to run a quick race. There's also no pacemaker in this, much like the women's A800. So these guys are going to have to make their own luck here tonight, and I don't think they're going to be in any danger of doing that with a few quick starters here. Andre Waring, notorious for going to the lead, and also Alex Rowe. We'll see how much fitter he's, allowed himself to be since the last Vic Milers Club. Rob Lister, also a fantastic athlete in his own right. As we're in the starters' hands now. And away we go. And Rowe, he looks like he's going to start fast. But Rob Lister in the middle there, he looks like he's going to try and get to the front early. As the rest of them now are going to work their way around. And I think it's also Stephen Nucky there of St. Kevin's. So he's going to try and make his way to the front as they start to sort themselves out. It's also Luke Shaw, our unattached athlete. So he gets to the front and they are flying. They're going to go through in about 25 seconds here through the first 200 metres. So they're not messing about. The cash incentives are certainly well within their reach here, Jim.
Oh, definitely. The whole field has gone right after it. This is fantastic to see. Luke Shaw has just bolted to the lead, looked fantastic. Alex Rowe right on his shoulder. Grant Muir on the outside. And it's Lister on the inside. We'll get their split through halfway. 53 seconds.
Woo. So these boys aren't mucking about. They're really here to run a fast time. And we see Shaw, the unattached athlete, he's still at the front, but a sneaky Rob Lister there on the inside. Maybe he's waiting to get a chance to break out there and make a move at 300 metres to go. Nucky's still on the outside. And I believe we also have our Chilwell athlete right in there behind him, and that's Grant Muir. So these boys now starting to make their presence known. Shaw, though, he's gone gun to tape almost. Rob Lister now. He's on there. He's right on his shoulder with 200 metres to go here, Jim, and it's going to be an interesting one because Nucky's still there too.
Oh, this is a fantastic race. So Luke Shaw, all the way from Western Australia, is making the trip look very worthwhile at the moment. Lister just edging out on his shoulder. Can Shaw hold him off? Lister pushing real hard just to try to get there. Don't count out Grant Muir. He's still coming home hard. But wow, Robert Lister, fantastic run. 149 perhaps. Woo. And with our incentive at 149.5, we'll need to wait for the photo finish to get that official time. But perhaps going home with $125 if he did get under that 149.5 mark. But Oh,
Wow.
brilliant running. And
Take
Luke
it
Shaw
there.
as well. Fantastic run. We should say if Luke Shaw dipped under that 149.5 as well, $75 goes to the second place getter if they were to break that third incentive mark. But
Well, he just sat in there, Rob Lister, and he was happy to sit on the rail and wait for somebody to give him some space. And space is exactly what he was given. Coming down from Sydney, that's the type of race you want to have, and always good, a great character around the athletic scene, Rob Lister, a great man. So a good win for him and a great race all around from everybody there, actually. Shaw did a lot of the work from WA there, and a great run. And that'll be the conclusion of our 800-metre events here tonight as we now turn our attention to the 1,500 as a few of the boys on the back straight there are warming up, and a great atmosphere down here. I don't know if you can see it exactly on the cameras, but plenty of people flocking to that back straight to throw their support behind the athletes. So we gear up now and turn our attention to the 1,500. Turn our attention now to the 1500, the men's A 1500. So we're going to go back-to-back A races here. Hip number 1, Aidan Roberts of Essendon. Number 2, Nicholas Blum of Unattached. Number 3, Mitch Thompson of Deakin. 4, Yuan Chow Louis of Doncaster. Number 5, Sam Williams of Melbourne Uni. 6, Luca De Conza of St Kevin's. Number 7, Matthew Scott, also of Melbourne Uni. Number 8, Nathan Pearce of Western Ats. Number 9, Felix Lonergan of St Kevin's. 10, Tom Bowers of Old Scotch. 11, Joshua Collins of St Kevin's. 12, Will Lewis of St Kevin's. 13, Tom Selwood of St Kevin's. And 14, Nicholas Baggett of Box Hill. So the sole Box Hill athlete there in Nicholas Baggett and a lot of St Kevin's. So there's a big showing from them, and they seem to be growing a pretty good little distance group down there at St Kevin's. We've seen a few of them in the 800 and now here in the A 1500. So it'll be interesting to see how they all pan out here.
Absolutely. Will Lewis, the highest seeded of the St Kevin's boys tonight, and he had a pretty solid performance a couple of weeks ago here at the White Horse Classic. So he's an up-and-coming athlete, I believe, looking to go to college later in this year, or later next year, should I say. So he'll be one to watch out for in this race. Incentives for this 1,500-metre event. Looks like the boys will be just a little bit off based on their seed times, but you never know what could happen. If 3:40 or better will get them $500, and the $125 would go to anyone who can break 3 minutes and 45 seconds.
Well, hey, never say never. Nathan Pearce coming off a really good training camp up there at Falls Creek, so you never know what altitude can do to a man. So it'll be interesting to see who's going to take it out here, because again, it's looking like in these A races there's no pacemaking, so they've all got to do their own pacing. And I think we're about to go into the starters' hands, so
Aidan Roberts, the athlete from Essendon, is the highest seeded racer at the moment. Juan Chow Louis, we haven't seen him race for a little while, apart from a couple of weeks ago at the White Horse Classic. But prior to that, seemed he had a bit of a hiatus from the track for a little while. So he's quite a fast PB for tonight. So we'll see how he performs.
Well, the wind has died down. The attention is there on the back straight. This is one of the best feelings I reckon you get as a young athlete, when all the eyes are on you and you're out here trying to run a PB. A beautiful Tuesday night at the home of PB. So a lot of things falling into place, and hopefully we can see a few quick ones. Mitch Thompson also won the 3K at the last Milers Club. So he's got a bit of distance in his legs. Let's see if he can carry that over to a shorter distance in the 1500. As these boys, a big field of 14, they're going to try and sort themselves out.
Matthew Scott, the athlete from Melbourne University, would probably be my pick across this field. He's had a couple of great races so far this season. Has quite a turn of speed as well, which will come in handy later on in this race.
Yeah, that is a very good selection. I'm going to go, look, based off the fact of what I saw him do when we were at Trinity, Tom Selwood, hip number 13 there, now running for St Kevin's. He has an amazing amount of speed at the back end of races. So if he's within a sniff with 400, 600 metres to go, you better believe he's going to be putting his foot on the gas pedal and seeing who he can burn off in that last part of the race. So it's going to be a really interesting one as they're now going back into their stride. So a little bit of a hold up here, but undoubtedly this is going to be an incredibly fast race.
Might be just a bit of an issue with the timing system in changing from 800s over to our first 1500 metre events and a new starting location for this next block of races. So I've got 12 events to go. This is event 18 and we're going up to 30 for the evening. The last one's around 9:30. We'll finish off with the lower graded men's and women's 1500 metre races.
Looks like they've worked it out here as the starter. Has called them back to the start here. I don't know about you, Mick, but I always found the start to be the hardest part of a race, just trying to find your position and find a place to get comfortable. So hopefully these boys can do it a lot quicker than I was ever able to do. They'll look laser focused.
Absolutely. I always used to panic and run as fast as I could in the first 100 metres and say, well, if anyone wants to pass me, they can do it, but I'm not getting caught up in this rubbish.
Yeah, I'm right with you there.
Getting on the rails, get comfortable and settle into my own pace, as annoying as it probably was for the rest of the field.
And racing now. So the first 100 metres, it's always just a bit of a feel out as the boys start to look left and right and see who's going to go to the front. And it looks like it is going to be Scott of Melbourne Uni. He's going to take it up. Will Lewis on his shoulder. And the fastest seat of our Essendon athlete there right on the inside. Selwood just behind Lewis there. Baggett, the lone Box Hill athlete, he's also on the outside. So it's always a nice position to be on the outside of lane one. You've got a lot of options, but some athletes tend to like to be on the rail, do a lot less work. But Scott of Melbourne Uni, he's going to lead him out through the first 200. Selwood on the outside. And the hopeful collegiate athlete of the future, Will Lewis there, he's going to tuck right in behind Scott, 300 metres through, and they're going to roll through in about 44, 45 seconds. So right on for that 3:45.
It does put them on for pace. Often these athletes might get a little bit excited in the first 300 metres as they just settle into the comfort without the pacemaker tonight. It'll take a little while to feel themselves out early on, but who knows, Matthew Scott could have a breakthrough performance tonight, as could Will Lewis. So these two athletes highest seeded, or amongst the highest seeded in this race, as the athletes all start to string out right back to the athlete from Old Scotch in Tom Bowers at the tail end of the field.
Well, I'll tell you what, Scott looks incredibly comfortable. I honestly did not even realise that they're about to roll through in 45 there for the first 300. So he's looking extremely smooth as Lewis has not moved from his shoulder. He's not going to let him make any moves on his watch. So Lewis is tucked in behind him. Selwood's still on the outside there. And as I said, if he's within a sniff with 600 metres to go, then he is going to absolutely hammer that in. As our fastest heat time or seed time in there, Aidan Roberts is tucked in nicely on the inside. And Chow Louis just behind them there, Baggett on the outside, Thompson behind them. So we've got a pretty good group at the front as they're about to come through 800 metres. And it's all Scott, and he has not relinquished the lead for his second of this race. Lewis as well has not left second place. So they're going to go through in about 2:02, 2:03, which is pretty good moving there, just outside the 3:45. But we'll see if there's a kick on the cards.
They'll put him around there. Entered seed time around the 3:50 mark, the current pace they are at. Scott looking very comfortable on the front of the field, as you mentioned, Mitch. Chow Louis as well. He always used to have a massive kick as a junior, and we haven't seen him race in a little while, but keep an eye in him. He's sitting in about 6th position at the moment. Baggett is slowly moving up. Selwood is right there as well, as is Mitch Thompson.
Mitchy Thompson now. He's had his time to sit at the back, and now he wants to make his presence felt. Selwood still on the outside. Scott now starting to go backwards a little bit, and it's Will Lewis right behind him. He's grimacing, but Mitch Thompson, he looks incredibly comfortable at the bell. 2:50 now. And he's looking good. Lewis right behind him. Selwood behind that. Roberts, Baggett, Scott. And we're starting to see another St. Kevin's athlete on the outside. Louis caught behind. But Mitch Thompson, he went with 500 metres to go. And he has put his foot down. Will Lewis with the long locks. 300 metres to go. And Mitch Thompson, he's looking incredible here, Mick. Lewis behind him.
Absolutely. Thompson just looks over his left shoulder as Lewis's legs are moving quicker than his. Tom Selwood trying to bridge that gap as well into the rest of the field. A few athletes fade back into the distance. Thompson has put on another turn of speed as Lewis follows. Lewis's legs just look quicker because he's got those flashy shoes on as he gets up right onto his heels and will soon be up on his shoulder as they enter the front straight, Mitch.
Yeah, and Thompson is still going to hold him out on the outside. Lewis on his shoulder, but Mitch Thompson, he's not giving up that easy. He's done a lot of work with 500 metres to go, and he's deserved this one. Salute there, Mitch Thompson. You've got that, and so he does. Will Lewis behind him. Selwood holds on for third. Scott, Louis through now. Baggett and the rest of the field starts to make their way through. Roberts now as the rest come through. And Mitch Thompson, that's spooky. I said salute, and he said, how do you do? So he saluted the crowd. And a great race from him. 500 metres to go. Not a typical place to make a move, but he's 2 from 2 in Milers Club this year. He won the 3K, and now he's won the A1500, and he'll be stoked with that. A confidence booster and a great race there, Mick.
The old Tuesday night specialist, although was the first meet on a Thursday night. the old midweek specialist.
Midweeker. Good on him. That's fantastic to see. And a great gutsy effort. He was not going to let Lewis take that one away from him on the outside there. And he is stoked with that. You can see the smile on his face. And it's good to see the sportsmanship down there. A lot of yellow singlets as well. But everybody getting around each other. And I think that's even Matt Hussey down there shaking some hands. So great sportsmanship from him. He's coming in from the outside. And awesome to see a great men's A1500, and well done, Mitch Thompson. That is gutsy running, and well done to the rest of the field. Lewis, he stayed in that second place, and he thought he could get him, but Mitch Thompson held on strong.
So next up will be the women's A 1500 metres. A couple of big name athletes in this event. Probably the biggest name, Morgan Mitchell, with the number 6 hip number, kicking off her Tokyo campaign with 1500 metre.
Yeah, that's right. She's been up at Falls Creek as well, so we'll see how some of that aerobic work up in the thin air at Falls Creek's benefited her here today.
So cash incentive for this one. 412 or better would be quite an ask from any of the field here. Would get them $500. 420 to 417 would be the $125 cash prize. So that's sort of the range that some of these athletes may be looking at. But for the bulk of the field, they'd be looking for a good hit out and a solid PB on this Tuesday night at Meet 2 of the Milers Club.
So going through our start list, hip number 1 will be Shani Landon of Maccabi. Hip 2, Paige Campbell, unattached. Hip 3, Bridget Humphrey of Deakin. Hip 4, Neve Tabbitt of Coburg. Hip 5, Emma Hogan of Glen Huntly. Hip 6, Morgan Mitchell, Western Athletics. Hip 7, Lauren Cockrell of South Melbourne. Hip 8, Melissa Newald of Doncaster. Hip 9, Stephanie Condigonas of Keilor St Bernard's. Hip 10, Kelsey Vickery of Mentone. Hip 11, Victoria Scoutsonis of Knox. Hip 12, Lauren Connell of Essendon. And Hip 13, Bernadette Williams, who will be racing unattached.
So a couple of these athletes, Bernadette Williams and Bridget Humphrey, were both listed and ran in the 800 metres. So I would suspect they will not appear physically in this field tonight as we see the athletes come through the first 200 metres. Morgan Mitchell, the tall figure, in second place. And leading the way is Paige Campbell, the athlete from New South Wales there, with a PB of 4:22.
Yeah, Campbell looking very strong. Morgan Mitchell, though, looking very comfortable.
Emma Hogan, the athlete from Glen Huntly in the light blue crop top, is sitting just on the heels of Mitchell as the field is quite spread out. PBs range from 4:13 up to 4:43. So by the finish line, we will see a spread of about 150 to 200 odd metres between the first place and the last place athletes. Paige Campbell running very strong ahead of the field, James.
Yeah, we had 72 seconds through that first lap, so right on about 4:30 pace if Campbell can maintain that. But it's looking like Campbell will be doing much of the work herself at this stage. Although on such a beautiful night here at Box Hill, maybe not such an issue with the lack of wind here blowing around. Morgan Mitchell just in second place there, and Hogan of Glen Huntly leading that chase pack. Although Shani Landon now of Maccabi just moving up.
Neve Tabbitt,
Hogan, Tabbitt, and Bernadette Williams.
So that is Bernadette Williams of Western Australia running in a second event for the night. She might even be doing that Steigen 1 competition in a few weeks, sort of practicing for that with the series of races, only 7 minutes, odd recovery between. So bit of practice for Bernadette Williams there as we look to the front of the field and see Paige Campbell just extending that lead ahead of Morgan Mitchell. Morgan is running very, very strongly in that second position. So 600 metres to go.
So Morgan Mitchell entered with a seed time of 4:30. Not sure if that's quite the personal best or not, but definitely looking very strong as she'll be coming up to 500. Paige Campbell, though, looking like she'll be very difficult to beat at this stage. She's looking very comfortable, very strong. But if there's anyone in this field that's got the pace to be able to catch her over this last lap, it is Morgan Mitchell.
It's a 400-metre runner.
Yep. So
now 800-metre
3:15. So definitely under that 4:30 pace.
Bernadette Williams, very, very impressive, running alongside Shani Landon as they come in. 400 metres to go. They collect the bell as the whole field does. Neve Tabbitt from Coburg in the red singlet is running a strong race as well.
Yeah, I'm very impressed with Bernadette Williams at the moment, backing up after that 800. And like you said, perhaps perfect preparation for the Steigen 1 if she is running in that in a couple of weeks' time. But over on the back straight, Paige Campbell, this has been a fantastic run from her. She's taken it from the gun. Morgan Mitchell, though, has run much of this race by herself and looking very strong as well.
Morgan is closing very strong. Look at Paige Campbell. But Morgan Mitchell is bridging that gap. I don't know if she'll catch her, but she is charging into this last 100 metres. Shani Landon just behind them, closing very strongly as well. The athlete from Maccabi, Bernadette Williams, and Neve Tabbitt closing this 1,500 metre race as we see Paige Campbell cross the finish line in 4:27. Morgan Mitchell in 4:28 to open her season. Shani Landon, Bernadette Williams, and Neve Tabbitt all around that 4:30 mark, give or take a second. Kelsey Vickery, Lauren Connell, and Victoria Scalsonis.
So some fantastic running by those girls. I suspect that'll be a personal best for Morgan Mitchell. She'd entered with 4:30, and she just managed to dip under that. Paige Campbell, strong running from the very start.
Good kick-off for the season anyway for a few of those girls. Paige Campbell, very strong, too good on this occasion. And Bernadette Williams, very impressive. Backing up.
Impressive. If those coaches of the draft for the Steigen one are watching at the moment, keep your eye on her because she's certainly able to back up.
And if anyone hasn't entered as well, jump on that Steigen one Facebook page or on their website for a bit of information as well. Great opportunity for a fun event coming up in Geelong in a couple of weeks' time. So check that one out. It's a very exciting event coming up.
Absolutely, the new format there as we turn our attention to the men's B 1500. Excuse me. Hip number 1, Dion Finocchiaro of Mentone. Number 2, Jessie Dunsmore of Frankston. Number 3, Lachlan Eno of Frankston. Number 4, Sean Whipp of Frankston. Number 5, Douglas Buckeridge of Box Hill. Number 6, Josh McLeod of Box Hill. 7, Saxon Morgan unattached. Number 8, Jonathan Guzman of St Kevin's. Number 9, Oscar Robinson of VCL.
Victorian Cross Country League.
Thank you so much. Victorian Cross Country League. Number 11, Jack Green unattached. Number 12, Charlie Langdon. Old Melburnians. Number 13, Durham Diol of Box Hill. And number 14, rounding out here, Caleb Sin of Doncaster. So a pretty loaded field here. 14 athletes are going to toe the line in the starters' hands now. Or maybe not.
So perhaps a little bit of nervous energy on the line there. Not quite sure. But I tell you what, the Bale Pigs of Frankston, the 3 of them all on the inside. We'll see how Sean Whipp's feeling after a busy few days, I'm sure, in Perth at the Australian All Schools Championships, I suspect. Jonathan Guzman in St Kevin's, he's gone to the front and will lead this field through.
Yeah, and I believe that's Charlie Langdon there of Old Melburnians. He's going to tuck in right behind him, but Guzman, the tall looming figure, is going to break the win for a lot of athletes there. Jesse Dunsmore in 3rd place. He's going to tuck in nicely behind the pair at the front. So Guzman obviously happy to do a lot of the early work. Of course, brother of Jordan. And he's going to be approached there by Langdon of Old Melburnians right on his shoulder. So the rest of this field, they're going to sort themselves out. They're going to give them a little bit of space. No, we're going to see our unattached athlete there and Jack Green start to bridge the gap. So they're all going to come through nicely. Sean Whipp just lingering towards the back there at hit number 4 of the Frankston Bale Pigs. He's going to come up 400 metres. Guzman has been in the front from the get-go. They're going to come through in around 62, 63 there, Jim.
Yeah, maybe just a little bit over. Don't be fooled of Jonathan Guzman. It is not cold out there whatsoever. I'd say he's taken a little bit of a shine to Stewie McSwain with the arm sleeves. It's worked well for him, and if it's good enough for Stewie, it's certainly good enough for the rest of us. Guzman looking fantastic out there, so he's entered with a seed time of 3:59.7. One of the quickest in the field. We'd like to see a lot of these guys all get under that 4-minute mark of the metric mile, we'll call it. That's right. So is it coming through with 2 laps to go, 1:54. Guzman leading them through. Dunsmore of Frankston, he's there sitting in 3rd.
It's Josh McLeod at Box Hill on the outside there in the middle of the pack. He might be able to start to move his way up. Guzman, he's happy to keep taking it though. They've gone through in about 2:09, so a 66-second lap there, a little bit slower than the first, and we might try and see some boys inject some pace here. And that's exactly what we see from the back of the pack, and that's Dion Finocchiaro of Mentone. He's going to start to move his way to the middle of it, but these boys are just happy to let Guzman keep on working. They're playing right into his hands, and if Guzman has a good kick on him, he's going to be a hard one to beat because they've sort of let him dictate the race from the gun. We've also seen our old Melburnian athlete in Charlie Langdon just sit on his shoulder and get a perfect ride through the race. So we'll see if Johnny Guzman, as you said, inspired by Stewie McSween this year, voted the sexiest male in Australian distance running. We'll see if he can really pull this one off with the arm sleeves. So Guzman still at the front, Langdon on the outside, Dunsmore tucked in on the rail there as we start to see some of our unattached athletes get into the business. 2:59, 3 minutes there at the bell. Guzman now, he starts to extend his stride. Langdon says, you're not getting too far away from me here. As Guzman now comes up to the 300, and it's our unattached athlete who goes bang on the outside, and Lockie Eno of Frankston now goes around all of them.
Wow, look at the Bale Pigs go. Eno has absolutely bolted out of the gate. Dunsmore now going after him. Where's Sean Whipp to help out his Frankston teammates get the trifecta? He's not quite there at the moment, but Eno, this is a fantastic run. Dunsmore is starting to come again after him, so about 3:30 with 200 to go. So if they can pull out a 30-second last 200, they'll see themselves under that 4-minute mark. That'll be a fantastic achievement for these boys. Neither of them registering sub 4-minute 1500s yet, but Eno, look at him powering again over this fine straight. Dunsmore trying to go after him, but it is all Lachlan Eno. What a fabulous run. 57, 58, 59.
Both
of them.
there.
Fantastic. And the teammates know it. Give each other a good pat on the back as they cross the line. Matching singlets, matching spikes, and matching PBs as they go home tonight. Fantastic running from both of those Frankston boys. Brilliant running.
Hey, great running from Guzman there. He led them all the way through. But the Frankston boys, they were just happy to sit off. And Eno with 300 metres to go just came out of nowhere and just seemed to find this kick that nobody else could go with. Dunsmore pushed him all the way, but a great run from Lockie Eno there. Also competed in the First Milers Club, so the consistency is there, and a great win in the B1500. Buckeridge, I don't know if you saw that, but he came from a long way back to be able to push himself up into third place. So great running there in the men's B1500, taken out by Lockie Eno of Frankston. We now look to the back straight for the women's B1500, a field of 16. So another big field for the women, which is great to see. Hip number 1, Mia White of Western Ats. Number 2, Amir Tabit of
Coburg.
Thank you, Coburg. Number 3, Indigo Lind of Yarra Rangers. Number 4, Chelsea Saw of Melbourne Uni. Number 5, Abigail Thomas of Western Ats. Number 6, Vanessa Wilson of Glen Huntly. Number 7, Amelia Belleville of Mentone. Number 8, Tess Rhodes of Deakin. Number 9, Mina Strudley of Yarra Rangers. Number 10, Bianca Puglisi of Essendon. Number 11, Remy Gibbs of Frankston. 12, Nicolette Lesberg of Mentone. Number 13, Brianna Kroll of Box Hill. 14, Eliza Lepere of Ballarat YCW. 15, Georgina Mees of Ballarat YCW. And number 16, rounding it out here, is Amy Robinson of Collingwood. So a big field of 16 here in the women's B1500. And I'm not sure what the spread here is on the seed times, but I imagine there's going to be a fair few quick girls in this race, Mick.
It'll be around the 4:45 mark. A lot of them will be looking to break around 4:50s for some of them, and all the way down to a 4:55 to the last of them. So about 12 seconds separating the whole group, which should put them all in their home straight as the leaders cross the line. In theory.
In theory. Everything's great in theory. No, it's been a fantastic night. Another great assistance from the people of Box Hill Community Athletics here. There are a lot of volunteers down there helping out, so make sure whenever you are at an event, if you're here tonight or here at one in the future, make sure you do thank the volunteers, because it is quite a thankless job and they work tirelessly to make sure that these meets run on time and to perfection. So thank you so much everybody who's helping out as we look over to the starter, and we are about to get underway here in the women's B1500. I don't know if there's such a thing as a prime time for 1,500 metre running, but if I've ever seen it, it looks like it might be right now. The sun's starting to set, the temperature's cooling off a little, the track's a little bit cooler, the people are starting to come through the gates, and I reckon this would be the time that you really want to race, Mick.
Absolutely. If there's a prime time, it looks like it's 8:19 on a Tuesday night in December. Not a breath of wind by the looks of the trees on the back straight there, as we can see the crowd start to mass on that slight hill around the Box Hill Athletics track. How's the nervous leg shakes on the girls, though?
Oh, there's a few girls out there who clearly really want a PB, and you work so hard for it, so I really hope that they can get over the line. You're right, there's a few nervous looks around. On the start line, you know, there's a few kinds of athletes. You're either the one who's looking for your coach or your friends, someone to calm you down. You've got the ones who have tunnel vision who don't look anywhere and they're just ready to rock and roll from the gun. And then there's a few others who are shaking the legs and trying to get in any last minute pre-race jitters or training almost that they can get. So it's, you know, there's always a few ways to psych out your competitors around you, and I think everybody starts to figure that out. But that's not what tonight's about. It's about running PBs at the moment. No psyching out.
A little bit of psyching.
Yeah, maybe marginal.
So the girls will be looking for around 75, 76 second laps. So 1 minute 15, 1 minute 16 per lap. A bit over 2:30 or about the 2:30 mark through the 800 metres if they want to go around that 4:45 mark. Georgina Mees from Ballarat, the athlete in the red singlet, second last to the outside of the track, as we see on the screen, is the highest seeded athlete in the field, and Amira Tabbert, who is the sister of the athlete earlier in the race from Coburg, is the second highest seeded. So we'll look for the red singlets early on and see how they go against the rest of the field. Mia White, also a seasoned athlete many years in the junior ranks.
Yeah, it looks like Amelia Belleville of Mentone there is going to take the lead from our Box Hill athlete. As our Collingwood athlete comes around onto the outside, and that's Amy Robinson. So she's now going to take it from Belleville from the front, and we're looking at the Ballarat YCW athletes there. As you said, the fastest seed time in the race. But right now, it's Amy Robinson of Collingwood who's going to take them out. She's just ahead of our Mentone athlete there, and Amelia Belleville.
Brianna Kroll of Box Hill, another hometown advantage we have here in the women's B race. She's sitting in third position, and as you said, Mitch, Georgina Mees is just on her shoulder. So the back of the pack all is tightly bunched, as we would expect, only 300 metres into a 1,500 metre race.
We have Bianca Puglisi of Essendon there doing a bit of work on the outside in lane 2. She's just found her way to tuck in now. And our other Mentone athlete in Nicolette Lesberg, she's also on the outside there. So she's now found a spot. But Amy Robinson's going to take him through the first lap in about 73 seconds there. So a little bit ahead of schedule of that 4:45 mark that we spoke about, Mick. And they've given her about 10, 15 metres to be able to work with. And you don't want to let that band get too far away, because you've got to question when it's going to snap, or if you can bring it back, then be the one to bring it back, as we see the Ballarat YCW athlete on the outside of Amelia Belleville of Mentone.
And it will be interesting. Amy Robinson isn't one of the highest seeded athletes in this race. So either she hasn't done a 1,500 in a little while, she might be a bit confident, or we might see the rest of the field just start to make some moves and pull her back with 2 laps to go. However, she looks like she is only extending her lead.
Yeah, she's looking extremely comfortable. You know, there's certain types of athletes that just feel really comfortable running by themselves. It sort of feels a little bit like training at times. So she's actually extended that lead from the last 300 metres. So she's now looking to be about 25 metres ahead. As we see the fastest seed in the field, our Ballarat YCW athlete.
Very tightly bunched. That's Georgina Mees leading this peloton group, should we call them, as they're chasing Amy Robinson, who is the breakaway cyclist / runner on the track at the moment.
She's nearly gone through in the same pace there. I think she's gone through in about 2:27, so a 73 into a 74. And I think she may have the 4%ers on, Mick.
Oh, those quick shoes that everyone's wearing.
I think she might have them on, so not that I know too much about shoes. I'll be looking for Nath Pierce to help me out on that one. But she has extended that to 40 metres now. And Georgina Mees of Ballarat YCW is going to lead that chase pack, but she's going to have to do a lot of work to bridge this gap as Amy Robinson's come out extremely confidently, and she is running her own race and running it extremely well at that. So she's going to come to 500 metres to go now, and she's looking incredibly strong.
And it doesn't look like the rest of the field will end up catching her with about 400 metres to go. It's probably a race in the rest of the field for the minor placings and see if they can help each other along for some PBs. We see Georgina Mees there. We see the athlete from Glen Huntley in Vanessa Wilson make her way to the front of that pack, as does
Nicolette Lesberg there of Mentone.
Bianca Puglisi of Athletics Essendon is getting up on the Mentone athletes' heels as well. So keep an eye on the minor placings for the rest of the field, as Amy Robinson just has a massive, massive lead ahead of the rest of them, as she has about 250 metres to go.
Yeah, and she's just run her own race, and she must be feeling extremely proud of herself now. She would obviously not know how far ahead she is, but with 200 metres to go, she is 35 to 40 metres ahead. But there are two athletes charging down the back straight here, and that is Vanessa Wilson and Puglisi. So I don't know if they can catch her. It would be a miracle to be able to, but they're going to try their best. As Amy Robinson, who has led from the start, now comes into the 100. She's starting to tighten up a little bit, and we hope she can make it to the line. She certainly deserves a win, as our other athletes in Vanessa Wilson and Bianca Puglisi are going to fight it out for the second place there. But Amy Robinson, she's done it the hard way, and she's going to come down to the line and win this Women's B 1500, and she's going to do it just under the 4:45. So a great run from Amy Robinson, as we see Vanessa Wilson and Puglisi come down to the line now. Mia White and the fastest seat time there, and Georgina Mees comes through now. So a great run from a lot of these girls. The Box Hill athlete and Brianna Kroll through the line. Chelsea Saw.
So Amy Robinson there collects the season's best, or PB, of around about 10 seconds. And a bunch of PBs would be handed out to the athletes in that middle of the field, all coming in around that 450 mark.
Yeah, mate, she just wasn't messing about. She was just ready to run her own race. And I know I've probably said that 3 times in this race, but it's a really hard thing to do, to be able to know within yourself what you're capable of. And you can see the friends and coaches down there celebrating with her. A fantastic race for her, and the rest of the field there to fight it out. A really, really well-timed race. So well done to Amy Robinson of Collingwood, who went gun to table, I think the first one tonight, to get that done. So congratulations.
Absolutely. And just focusing on those shoes as well. They're not the 4%ers or the next percenters.
Oof.
I don't even know if they're spikes, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, they're, are they Saucony? No, Mizuno, I think.
They look like, look like a pair of racing flats.
Yeah.
So that's pretty impressive to get it done in the non-spikes,
Yeah,
which
well,
we see more and more on the track now.
All you need is your shoes on your feet, clearly. So good on her.
So the men's C race will be next on the track.
So for this next heat of the men's 1500, this will be our C race. We're on hip number 1, Aidan Dubuisson of St. Stephen's. Hip 2, William Garbletto of Sandringham. Hip 3, Jordan Mayston of Eureka. Hip 4, Zach Hunter of Box Hill. Hip 5, Kai Davies of Mornington Peninsula. Hip 6, Luke Sin of Doncaster. Hip 7, Harry Bowen of St. Kevin's. Hip 8, Tom Hockley Salmon of Chilwell. Hip 9, Gary Crummy of Deakin. Hip 10, Lockie Morehouse of Mentone. Hip 11, Reese Hadfield of Knox. Hip 12, Bailey Camillo of Williamstown. Hip 13, Benjamin Baisha of Old Scotch. Hip 14, Benjamin Sherman of Old Zavarians. The battle of the Benjamins in the APS. And in hip 15, James Maguire of Melbourne Uni.
Oh, good to see one Box Hill athlete in there, and an absolute legend at that, Zach Hunter. I hope he runs a fantastic race. No bias there whatsoever. So in the men's C 1500, big field of 15, I believe.
So when you look at our C times, 4:04 is our fastest C time. Gary Crummy, that is, and he's of Deakin. But 4:08 is a spread, so 4-second spread among the C times of these athletes. So we're in store for an absolutely cracking race. It'd be great if we could see one of them get under that 4-minute barrier.
Oh, it would just be a beautiful thing, Jim. You'd love to see the Chargers get out there and really just let it rip from the gun. And I guess in the early season, mates, you've really got nothing to lose, do you? You just got to try and run as fast as you possibly can, as we're in the starters' hands and we're back out of them. So
a little bit of nervous energy, nerves
again.
It's good, you know, when the horses are a little bit anxious to get in the gates, that's when they're ready to fire. So hopefully that's what we'll see, because raced out to the front.
Lockie Morehouse, I believe that is, who's going to take the lead 100 metres through.
And then Mayston just sitting on his inside. And Kai Davies in the bright orange Mornington Peninsula singlet in about third position. Dubuisson of St. Stephen's tucked in about fourth or fifth position there.
Benjamin Sherman of Old Zavs, he's gone wide to be able to find his spot, so I hope he can find it soon, because you don't really want to be running any more extra metres than you have to. But that is Morehouse at the front there, and he's got an incredibly comfortable running style. He looks extremely smooth out there. As we see Jordan Mayston and our Old Zavarians runner and Benjamin Sherman on the outside. Yeah, the Battle of the Bends. He's got
the Battle of the APS
Bends.
Bends. Sherman just leading that at the moment. But Ben Baisha as well in the all red, just as he's heard to say that, has moved himself up just a little bit through the field. So you can see they've strung out nicely. They're all about single file, which is perfect running. That's exactly what these athletes want, to be able to settle in a rhythm, have a runner to sit behind, help with some of that pacing, help with some of that drafting.
Yeah, we're about 63, 64 through the first lap, so a good pace to be able to begin with. And Morehouse looks just so comfortable. He's very happy and content to take the lead there, as Mayston is going to sit right behind him and try and benefit of maybe not having to cop much of the win. Not that there's too much down here tonight, but anything you can do to get some sort of advantage, you're obviously going to take. As we see Sherman of Old Zav still right tucked in there, but now we start to see William Garbalotto now tuck into third place. So he's going to now try and benefit of being one prong further back from Morehouse, as he's going to take it through still as we approach 800 metres into the race.
Yeah, so
I really like what Garbaletto's done.
Yeah, Garbaletto looking very strong, comfortable, and I can remember us having a very similar conversation at the last Milers Club over the 3K, if I recall. Garbaletto having a very strong race, and he's looking like he's running quite aggressively. He definitely wants to come out and run a fast time tonight. So if these boys don't watch themselves, then I think Garbaletto could very well come over the top of him.
Well, he almost got caught in a little fartlek there. He was ready to move his way up, and he got checked. So Morehouse is still going to lead him. 500 metres to go. Baisha now tucked in really nicely in fourth place, but Garbaletto looking extremely comfortable in third. Mason's still in second place. So he's been biding his time. It'll be interesting to see what he has left in the tank with 400 metres to go. But Morehouse is going to lead at Mayston second. Garbaletto, he's trying to do a bit of work up on the inside. Baisha there in third, and our other St. Kevin's athlete, and Harry Bowen, is going to go to fourth. So our early race leader of the Benjamin race, Ben Sherman, has now gone a little bit back into the field, as this front pack is now going to try to sort themselves out. Morehouse still at the front, Mayston in second, and now we start to see Harry Bowen make his way around the whole pack. Garbaletto, he's not done yet. He's going to come back onto their gym as they're halfway down the back straight, and it's Bowen who's going to take it.
Yeah, Bowen looking good, but Garbaletto, who's absolutely been biting at the bits to be able to get out there, and it looks like he might just tuck in a little bit behind. Benjamin Baisha is not just interested in winning the Battle of the Bends. He wants to win the entire race. He's putting a great claim for that at the moment. Garbaletto just trying to edge around on the outside.
This is going to be extremely close. Bowen's still on the inside. Garbaletto says, I don't want a piece. I want the whole thing. He's going to come on the outside. Bowen on the inside. But Garbaletto's on his shoulder. And we start to see the St. Stephen's athlete
Dubuisson.
He's going to go on Garbaletto.
Dubuisson.
And he's... jeez,
we're going to need the photo finish for that one.
He might have held it on the inside, Garbaletto. And he's going to give him a hug and say, hey, if you've won, you've earned it. So well done. Garbaletto, geez, he ran aggressively, didn't he? Got on the inside, but... Dubuisson, St. Stephen's.
Yep.
You guys are growing them down there, mate.
Oh, certainly. I mean, not too many of us out tonight, so Aidan flying the flag for the red, white and blue, and boy, has he done the club proud. That was a fantastic effort. over that final 100. We'll definitely need to have the photo finish to help pick that one. I think Garbaletto down at the finish line thinking that he might have got the wind. He's got a bit of a pop in the step. He's feeling pretty excited. Oh, I don't know. It was pretty close, Williams.
Yeah,
so.
I reckon you might have got him actually out there at the St. Stephen's Athlete. So that's a cracking finish to the 1500. But aggressive running from the boys and fantastic to see people just really coming straight down to the line to be able to try and run a fast time there.
So next up on the track, we have the men's D 1500. In hip number 1, Max Taylor of Essendon. Hip 2, Connor Lynch of St. Kevin's. Hip 3, Isaac Rosado of Eureka. Hip 4, Samuel Rattray of Box Hill. Hip 5, Jack Armstrong of Box Hill. Hip 6, Ben Ludbrook of Eureka. Hip 7, Liam Warrett of Collingwood. Hip 8, Ashton McDonald of Knox. Hip 9, Scott Benedict of Ringwood. Hip 10, Jaden Wallace, Ballarat YCW. Hip 11, Thomas Diamond of Box Hill. Hip 12, Charlie Close of Williamstown. Hip 13, Isaac Biblay of Box Hill. Hip 14, Joshua Tracy of Essendon. Hip 15, Kieran Hess of Box Hill. Hip 16, Raymond Jansen of Athletics Waverley.
So the athletes are spread across 10 seconds of seed times in this men's D race. 4:09 will be the quickest of them. They'll put the athletes through in about 66, 67 second laps to get a time of under 4:10. So Ben Ludbrook from Eureka is the one with the highest seed time. Jaden Wallace and Connor Lynch, Ballarat and St. Kevin's respectively, also ones to watch.
So 10-second spread between these athletes. Another tight, close race and some more nervous energy as we see the athletes just called back from the start line. But off away cleanly now. All out very well, probably the better start. Connor Lynch of St. Kevin's leading them all out.
Charlie Close is in the mix there as well, the athlete from Williamstown in the headband.
So we see some more middle distance prowess of Box Hill on display in this race here. The depth of these runners has been very impressive all night. We'll see how they perform here, but a very big charge made from
Jaden Wallace.
Yeah.
Jaden Wallace from Ballarat YCW.
Yeah, that's right. He certainly wants to make the trip worthwhile, the trip back worthwhile. And hey, if he goes home with a PB, guess what? They'll be stopping on the way home to Ballarat.
Oh, it's Macca's time, baby.
Come on.
Isaac Rosado, he is from the Eureka Club out of Ballarat as well, and he is sitting nicely in second position. So we have Connor Lynch, Isaac Rosato, and a bunch of other athletes behind him, James.
Yeah, a few other. But tell you what, we've had Nathan Pearce come through, I think, for his 40th lap on his cool down on the inside. He's been going for about the past half hour, I think, since the 1500.
Getting those miles in post-falls.
Getting those miles in.
Training is never done.
But Jaden Wallace, the Ballarat athlete, some impressive running at the moment. He's just led the field out, so perhaps they're a little bit slow. We can see them starting to widen out a little bit. A wall of about 4 runners across.
Don't want to be
Make
running.
that 5.
Don't want to be running too much on the outside there as Max Taylor gets onto the rails as they go into the bend. Don't want to be running too far wide as we go into the bends. Few athletes from the Ballarat area right towards the front of this field. Ben Ludbrook being another one, the Eureka athlete in the yellow singlet towards the pointy end of this men's D race.
Yeah, it's been a very interesting race. A lot of little surges kind of going on, and I'm really liking the way that Wallace is running it at the moment. He's running quite aggressively, covering each of the moves. So hopefully that hasn't cost him any of his petrol tickets, and he can be strong over the last 400. But Max Taylor of Essendon still leading our field out and starting to string them out.
They're still very tightly bunched for a field of 16 athletes with 500 metres to go.
Yeah, they're certainly going to make it a tough job for us over this last 400. There's plenty of them coming out.
Jack Armstrong.
Some good running. Connor Lynch now starting to make a move. Ludbrook as well.
Jaden Wallace just gets on Lynch's shoulder straight away. He gets overtaken, then takes him back with gusto as he bridges the gap and puts a few metres into Connor Lynch instantly.
Yeah, that's a huge move from Wallace. And it's not the first one he's made tonight, but wow, Lynch is going right back after him.
And just like that, they're strung across 50 metres on the back straight. Previously, only 10 metres separated the whole field, as it is a ding-dong battle between Connor Lynch and Isaac Rosato.
It's Wallace, no,
Wallace.
Jaden Wallace. No, we've been talking about him for much of this race because he has run very aggressively, really putting every effort that he can to take this home. It's such a good finish. Lynch just trying to get on his shoulder, but wow, this is fantastic running, Jaden Wallace. All the way from Ballarat YCW 4:11.
Stopping his watch on the line, as good distance runners do. Kieran Hussey, we didn't mention him in the whole race. He came through for a strong third place finish there as a train of athletes crossed the line in this men's D race. Bunch would have collected PBs there, especially Connor Lynch at the top end of the field.
I tell you what, Jaden Wallace doing that in a pair of flats as well.
That was a very, very interesting race to watch, wasn't it, James?
Oh, it really was. It was a bit unconventional, you might say. Kind of moves made here and there, and then slowing up. And
to-ing and throwing of the lead.
That's right. Wallace, he's still running quick up on the back straight over to get his spikes or water or trainers or whatever he's doing. He's got plenty left in his step. So, fantastic run. And
running back to Ballarat.
Yeah, maybe.
Via Macca's, apparently.
Got to get the train.
Yeah, great racing there, boys. That was an unbelievable finish, and he certainly earned his Maccas there, I'd say, all the way back to Ballarat. So congratulations there as we turn our attention now to the women's C1500 who are on the start line. Hit number 1, Noah Sarup of Unattached. Number 2, Michaela Young of Collingwood. Number 3, Sophia Armstrong of the Bellarine. Number 4, Annabelle Smith, Unattached. Number 5, Nisa Malays of WTN. Someone's going to have to help me out with that
Williamstown.
Williamstown, thank you. Number 6, Amy Lane of Westernass. Number 7, Sophie Stokes of Ringwood. Number 8, Sophie Bolmett of Sandringham. Number 9, Sophie Crane of Glen Huntly. Number 10, Melissa Baster of Frankston. Number 11, Imogen Baker of Mornington Peninsula. Number 12, Mia Lepere of Ballarat YCW. Number 13, Alexandra Schultz of Unattached. And rounding it out at number 14, Tiana Postons of Box Hill. So a big field of 14 here in the women's C1500 metres. And what sort of spread are we looking at, Mick?
Well, I dare say a few of these athletes would be looking to nudge that 5-minute barrier. PBs ranging between 5 dead and 5:17, with probably about 4 or 5 of them around the mid 5-minute mark. So 5:04, 5:05, 5:06s. So to get under that milestone barrier, they will need to go through in average 1 minute 20 per lap. So we'll keep a keen eye on that because we know that a lot of these young athletes hold that 5-minute barrier in such high regard, and we'll be chasing that tonight in great conditions.
You say that, Mick. One of them is going to chase it extremely hard from the gun, and I think that's our unattached athlete, Noah Sarup. So she's not messing about, and she's out here to run a fast time. So good for her. She puts about 15 metres into the rest of the field, coming up to the 300-metre mark here, and she has absolutely let herself be known to the rest of the field that she's not going to wait around. As the rest of the girls now start to come through the line, and I believe that we have our Glen Huntly athlete in Sophie Crane, who's going to lead that chase pack, but at the front of it is Noah Sarup as she comes up to 400 metres to go, and she's put about 15, 20 metres into them here.
And the whole field just came through the first 300 metres in under 58 seconds, which will give them all on pace for 5 minutes. So, and as we see them go through the 400, the whole field has gone still under that pace of 5 minutes per kilometre. Noah Sarup, though, she is got a lead of about 30 to 40 odd metres on the rest of the field. Guess how old she is, Mitch?
Oh, I would have to say she's about 12 years old.
11.
Oh, close. That's
So
incredible running. She's taken a quick look over the inside of her shoulder there to see where the rest of the field is and make sure that she hasn't started before everybody else. So she's looking incredibly comfortable. She's got still about 25, 30 metres into the rest of the field as now it starts to move around a little bit within that chase pack. And they're starting to pick her up bit by bit here. So as they get closer to us, we'll be able to identify who these athletes are. But they're all happy to work together to try and pick up our young athlete here who has gone out in an extremely brave performance. And she's hopefully going to be able to hold on if they do gobble her up. But she's running extremely well as the rest of the pack now starts to edge closer and closer and bridge that gap. And that is Imogen Baker there of Mornington Peninsula who's going to lead them through. And still Sophie Crane of Glen Huntly right behind them there.
Nissa Males from
Nissa Males. And our Box Hill athlete of Tiana Postons as well on the outside. So Noah Sarup still in front coming up to 800 metres through the race. She's probably going to hit the line there at about 2:35, 2:36. The rest of the field, 2:38, 2:39. So they are starting to pick her up a little bit, but she's still got room, Mick.
Absolutely. I dare say she will get caught, but when she does, or if she does, hopefully just settle into the pace, maintain a little bit. We saw at last Miles Club people getting past, settling in and kicking with a strong finish. But as I say that, it actually doesn't look like she's slowing down.
No,
with about 600 metres to go.
She's looking incredibly comfortable, and that chase pack is doing a lot to try and pick her up. And that's Imogen Baker still at the front there from Mornington. But Noah Sarup, what an incredible performance. And look, even if she does get caught, it's an extremely tough thing to do to put yourself out there in the front, and we love to see it. So good on you, and I really hope that she can take it out, Noah Sarup. She still has about 10, 15 metres on the pack, but now the leader of that chase pack has changed over.
Michaela Young from Collingwood.
Young, that's the one. 400 metres to go now. She's going to try and lead the charge to bridge this gap. As Sarup, she's going to hit the line at 3:40, and now here comes Young, 3:43. The rest of the group now, as we see Imogen Baker still leading that chase pack, but Michaela Young, she's going to be the one to come up on Sarup's shoulder, and a great performance out in front. We'll see if she can maybe tuck in behind or hold on behind her, Sarup, with 300 metres to go. But Michaela Young starting to extend her stride, and we'll see what happens here on the back straight.
Yeah, they went through with 1 lap to go. The bulk of that front field, about 6 to 7 athletes, all under that 5-minute pace. They'll all need to do a 1:20 close to get under that mark, which a handful of them may do. It's a ding-dong battle at the front though. Noah Sarup and Michaela Young, the 1 and 2 seeded athletes. Sarup is about half the size of Young. She's just sitting in on her heels.
Incredible.
As we said, we thought that she would get past, but could she hang on? It looks like she does. She's just waiting.
And look at her legs move. And Young, she did a lot of work to be able to bridge the gap. And maybe Sarup now, she's been able to tuck in behind her. And she's
Sit and
maybe
kick.
stooged the whole field. She was ready for her to come and take
She's
some
done
of the
it.
lead. And Sarup, she went out so
Wowee.
fast and she has held on. And that is the performance of the night. That is incredible from the 11-year-old athlete. 4:55 at 11
Kidding
years
me.
of age. And one of the gutsiest runs you will see. Fantastic work from Michaela Young to bridge that gap. Imogen Baker there of Mornington Peninsula, as well as Amy Lane. But Noah Sarup, that is incredible, and that is hard to do. If you get swallowed, sometimes your confidence gets hit, and that's an incredible win, as we see Sophia Armstrong now across the line with the rest of the field, and that was, I'm a bit speechless, Mick.
Some quick times at the head of the field there as well in the low 5-minute range, a couple of 5:01s, 5:03s from a few of those athletes, but yeah, I didn't expect that either.
That is,
yeah, I was saying I would
that
hope that she would get past, sit in, and then have a kick to finish with, but didn't know that she would do it, and she was very, very impressive, especially for an athlete of the age of 11 years old. 4:55. Also, the athlete from Collingwood in Michaela Young going under that 5-minute mark for the first time as well.
That is just incredible, and a big hug from Mum there right at the end. Solidifies a perfect race, and that is a Macca's trip if I've ever heard of one. As people are now coming to her and saying, hey, can you please teach me how to do that? That was incredible. So a great race there from the young athlete.
So next heat will be the men's E1500. Hip 1, David Grieg of Ivanhoe. Hip 2, Daniel Malone of Knox. Hip 3, Eric Trinkle of Knox. Hip 4, Raymond Chan of Box Hill. Hip 5, Joshua Hawkes of Wendouree. Hip 6, Jonathan Peck of Geelong Guild. Hip 7, Raymond Nayar of Western Athletics. Hip 8, Logan Janetsky of Glen Huntley. Hip 9, Jack McLean of Box Hill. Hip 10, Matthew Vinor of Athletics Dun and Wadding. Hip 11, Ben Grimes of Knox. Hip 12, Jack Bowen of St. Kevin's. Hip 13, Xavier Johnson of Mentone. Hip 14, Kane Marriott of Diamond Valley. Hip 15, Lachlan Welsh of Williamstown. And Hip 16, Alistair McDonald of Western Athletics. So Logan Janetsky was a winner of one of the Vic Milers Awards for his efforts last month over the 3K. A very strong, gutsy run from him, leading much of the way and then able to take out that win in the final stage of the race. So we'll see what's in store for him today. Away very quickly, and Janetsky, no surprise, right amongst it. He's the figure in the bright blue singlet, just sitting in second place there.
Raymond Nayar of Western Ass is going to take them out. So Janetsky's going to sit right behind him. Nayar is going to lead it, and I believe that behind them is actually Xavier Johnson of Mentone. So Nayar, he's happy to take the front, and I feel like people always feel a little bit better when someone tall takes it. He checks his watch 200 metres in, and he's making sure that he's on pace. But it looks like Logan Janetsky is more than happy to just benefit off the height of the man in front of him and sit back there as we see Ben Grimes now start to get on the shoulder of the leading two. And out there in lane 2 is Jack Bowen. I believe his brother raced in the previous one before this, so he's going to sit in lane 2 and try and find his spot as we come up 400 metres into it. And Nayar of Western Ats has led the entire way for this 400 and about a 63 through. So Janetsky right behind him, and it's a bit similar, isn't it?
Yeah, so well and truly on PB pace, these boys. So 4:20, the fastest seed times put in, Nayar and Janetsky, both of those. So they'd be looking at about 69 seconds through the 400 mark, and they were 6 seconds ahead of that. So well and truly on that PB pace as we see the field strung out very well. A lot of the athletes being able to sit, relax in some comfortable positions. But Janetsky and Nayar both looking extremely smooth up front. It looks like that Jack Bowen of St. Kevin's, he was able to just kind of get himself on the back of that group.
Yeah, and these three out the front are starting to really inject a little bit of pace. We're going to see who's get on there. And as you've said that, Jack Bowen now is going to be the one to jump on the back. And behind him is Joshua Hawkins, I believe. So he's going to latch onto the back of that front group. We're going to see who's going to do the work in the one behind. I believe that's David Grieg of Ivanhoe. So he might get to the front of the chase pack, but they are now starting to inject a little bit more pace. Xavier Johnson of Mentone, the only one who can go with, but Janetsky not far away. The three behind them are going to work well together as we see Joshua Hawkes of Wendouree now. He's going to move around Janetsky, and he does not want to be caught behind when the moves are made. So 600 metres to go. Nayar still leading. But as we start to see Hawkes now make his presence felt, Janetsky still not far away from the three in front. So it's going to shape up to be a pretty interesting final 500 metres here, Jim.
Yeah, it definitely will be. So, again, keep an eye on that clock because 4:20 is the PB pace. We'd look at about a 3:11 as they get them through this bell lap. Would have them right on that, and I think they're well and truly going to be under that. So, Nayar going to lead them through. Johnson just behind him.
And a ring-a-ding-ding, and away we go. 400 metres to go. Janetsky, I know he's a little bit behind, but he surprised us last time. Let's see if he can pull something off. But Nayar now starting to stride away. He's put 5, 7, now 10 metres into the field. And behind him there is still Xavier Johnson of Mentone. So it seems to be Nayar who's having no issues in pulling away with 300 to go as he is extending his stride and he is saying, see you later. Thank you, mother, for the rabbits. I'll take this one. 200 metres to go now. And we still start to see Hawks now overtake our Mentone athlete in Xavier Johnson. But Nayar, he is moving away quite comfortably. He doesn't seem to be disturbed whatsoever with what's going on behind him, and so he shouldn't with 100 metres to go. He is moving beautifully, 30 metres in front, and I believe that's Joshua Hawks of Windaree who's going to come into the straight, but it is all Nayar from Western Ats. Raman Nayar, he's going to take this out, and he's going to take it out in a pretty quick time, I would say, as we see the clock go 4:08, 4:09, so he's under the 4:10. And it's Joshua Hawks who's going to come down, and Janetsky now is going to fight it out for third. But I think Xavier Johnson's going to hold on. Janetsky, Bowles. And now we start to see the rest of the field come through. David Grieg there of Ivanhoe. Had a great race there from Nayar. He did go gun to tape.
Oh, he sure did. That was a fantastic run. He's wiped about 12 seconds off his personal best. And a lot of the front end of that field all coming through under 4:20. So a lot of happy boys after this race, all going home with PBs. Fantastic running. Nayar doing a big service to the rest of the field, taking that pace early, bring them all along with him, and what a perfect example of what Vic Miles Club is all about, just getting on the back, having a crack and running some fast times and PBs.
Yeah, that's it. It only takes one to be able to bring the rest of the field through. The competitive juices get flowing, and you don't want to be the one to fall off. So fantastic work there, 12-second PB. Jeez, you'd be absolutely stoked. You'd be telling everyone about that one. So well done there to Nayar of the Western Athletic Club.
Yeah, perhaps one of the Vic Miles Encouragement Awards for that performance, because that was brilliant.
So men's F, 1500 metre will be the next one on the track as we can just make out the figures of these athletes in the darkness. On the back of Box Hill Athletics track, in lane 1 we have Andrew Carey of Williamstown, lane 2 Ryan Blackwell of Collingwood, lane 3 Thomas Hughes of Mentone, lane 4 James Anderson, Yarra Rangers, lane 5 and Jared Zaszkowski of Maccabi, lane 6 Harvey Mason of Geelong Guild, lane 7 Murray Lovis of Box Hill, lane 9 Javier Tabit of Coburg, and Archie Hewitt of MPA, James.
Mornington Peninsula.
Of course, Mornington Peninsula. Abdi Haji Ali of Western Athletics. We remember him racing a couple of weeks ago at the, would have been at the 5,000 metre championships, actually. That's how I remember him. Pretty new athlete to the scene. Oliver Armstrong from Geelong Guild. Robert Sherwalt from Old Scotch. Tyler Donboa from Casey Cardinia. Alex Ander Gibson from Mentone. Grant Simpson from Ballerine.
Peninsula.
And Benjamin Purser from Doncaster, and Joshua Augustinus from Old Zavarians. To round out the field, 17, James.
Very nice. And 17 of them, just 8 seconds separating them. 4:25 is our fastest seat time of Thomas Hughes. So we'll probably be looking at about 70 to 71 seconds for those 400s. 70-second 2:55 through the kilometre. So as we can see, the darkness beginning to fall over the Box Hill track. And you know what they say, when you're running at night time, you feel fast, don't you, Mika?
Absolutely. The night time's the fast time, as they say in the world of night athletics. Especially here at the home of PBs at Box Hill Athletics track.
Exactly. And on Saturday, we should have our 10K athletes coming through the finish right on about this time. I think scheduled 8:30 start. Satapec 10. It looks like our field's strung out very well here.
Very
this is
quickly.
Great to see. So Casey Cardinia leading us through. Tyler Denboa.
Very quick start as well. They're on 4-minute pace so far, the leaders.
Oh,
with
certainly.
Season's best or PBs of around the 4:25 mark. The whole field to be on pace will be coming through around now, and they have all well and truly done that. So they're all heading for PBs at this stage. But the challenge is to hold on for the 3 3/4 laps that what do we call it before? The metric mile.
The metric mile has, yep.
Just like the baker's dozen. It isn't actually a dozen.
Metric mile.
Metric mile isn't actually a mile.
No.
109 metres short.
Yeah. Point whatever it is.
Is it 109? 1,609
point something. Yeah.
Oh, really? I thought it was just 1,609 dead.
Nah. So if you know what the point is, hit us up on Facebook.
On our socials.
On the video
Jimmy
comments.
Coleman.
Yep. So as we'll see them come through 700.
That's Tyler Denboa.
Under 2 minutes. So Denboa still looking good. Thomas Hughes of Mentone. He's the one sitting second. His teammate,
Alexander Gibson,
sitting in third. So I'd love to see a little bit of a duo working together.
They have significantly slowed in the second lap, as expected, but still holding. Well, now they're on about that same pace. Yeah, so 64 second into about a 72 second. If they maintain these 72 seconds, they'll still head for under that 4:30 mark that they're after tonight.
Fantastic maths.
Quick maths.
Mika, quick maths, but as most distance runners know, 72s is 3 flat through the K. Ticking them off in training all day, hey, aren't you, Mika?
Which will put them at 4:30 through the
4:30.
1.5K.
That's right, because half a K is 500 and half of 3 minutes is 130.
130 plus 3 minutes.
On the 3 minutes for the 72s is 4:30.
Quick maths.
So hopefully we can see them get through. We'll probably look at about a 3:13 is what they'd want to see.
Ryan Blackwell from Collingwood has just got up on the shoulder of these boys, and hopefully he gets on the rails as they come in with 1 lap to go, passing the finish line about 3:15, 3:16, 3:18, 3:20 for the field. So a bunch of them towards the front could well and truly get under that 4:25 mark that they have entered as their seed time. Let's see how they go in this last 300 metres.
Yeah, I certainly reckon they've put themselves in PB territory, but very, very impressed with Tyler Denboa. I really love the way he's gone about this race tonight. He's gone to the front early. He's settled back in, and the other athletes were just happy to sit behind him. And now he's charged again, so 200 to go. Denboa leading at Blackwell of Collingwood just in second.
Hughes of Mentone and his teammate in Gibson closely follows in 4th position as the 4 athletes come onto the screen now and enter the front straight for the last time. They'll need to finish off strongly to get under that 4:25 mark, and I suspect the top 3, at least maybe 4, will do that as we see the clock tick over, and massive PVs for a lot of them. 4:18, 4:19, 4:21.
So they've all closed very quick right there, because we're talking about 72s they needed for that last lap, and they've closed in like a 67, 68, and a big sea of athletes.
I think a bunch of them, I think about 6 athletes all finish on 4:31 or 4:32 there. So good racing.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant.
Makes it easier when it's tightly bunched, doesn't it?
Yeah, it certainly does when you just got those people to run with, help pull you along and get the best out of yourself by tucking behind them. Good friendly competition.
Yeah, absolutely, and great racing there by the boys as we focus now back onto the back straight for the women's D 1500. Hip number 1, Charlotte Adlington of Mentone. Number 2, Sarah Watts of Ballarat YCW. Number 3, Greta Ashley of Ballarat YCW. Number 4, Kayla Schwulo of Mornington Peninsula. Number 5, Claudia Paul of Chilwell. Number 6, Kushi Diol of Box Hill. Number 7, Sally Morrison of Mentone. Number 8, Grace Young of Collingwood. Number 9, Joanne Pratt of Casey Cardinia. Number 10, Jasmine O'Reilly of Chilwell. Number 11, Ava Dluzniak, unattached. Number 12, Bella Eno of Frankston. Number 13, Mairead Spark of WTN. Someone's going to have to help
Williamstown.
me. Thank you, Williamstown. It's happened 3 times. Number 14, Kayla Bridges of Eureka. And rounding it out at number 15, Aisha Kassaby of Box Hill. So a few, the lone Box Hill athlete actually there on the home turf tonight. So it's been a fantastic night of racing, and I'm sure the girls here in the women's D1500 are going to build upon that. The sport is just always built on the pillars of fun. So we'll see how much fun these girls can have out here in the women's D1500. And we're in the starters' hands just about here.
So a bit of a spread of times in this field, 5:20s all the way down to 6 minutes for the last of those 15 athletes. 1:25s would be the time that they'll be hoping to go through, and if they are running an even race. But we haven't seen too many even races tonight, have we, Mitch?
No, we've seen a lot of hot first laps, so a lot of people out here really trying to make themselves known from the gun, which we love to see. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how these girls pace it. I was absolutely lost when you blokes were explaining all the splits earlier, so that was maths that I couldn't do. So I'm going to leave this one to you, Mick, to be able to tell me how even this all is.
I'll give you updates as we go through, Mitch. Don't worry about that.
Thank you.
I think there's a slight delay on the start line, just as we're looking at the finish line from the commentary box here. The few officials are talking to the 5 or 6 athletes that we think all got a 4:31, trying to work out exactly point what they finished in. And they got pretty blank looks back at them. So I don't know. You guys timed me, didn't you? You were watching. I was just running.
I was just chucking my left foot in front of me right. So. No,
few clipboards and biros furiously marking down there.
And the boys don't really seem too phased. They're happy to just walk off and let the officials sort it out. So they might be similar to me. You don't want to know the mass of it. Just tell me the end result. So I think we're on here. Maybe the start is sort of waving the gun around a little bit there. It's a little bit distracting. So a big heat again of 15 girls. There's still a lot of people here, Mick, I would say, as we're just ticking over 9 o'clock now. Still a lot of people out and supporting their athletes or friends, family, whoever you're supporting. So it's great to see here for the 20th time I mentioned the home of PB. It's Box Hill Athletics Club, and we'll see that in full action this Saturday at the Zatopek with an Olympic spot potentially on the line for both the men and women. So great to see so many events down here at Box Hill.
Absolutely. It's been an opportunity for this track and club to showcase the venue this year and what an event they can put on for the athletics community in lieu of Lakeside being resurfaced at the moment. So it has been good to enjoy athletics racing at, as you said, the home of PBs here at Box Hill Athletics Track.
Yeah, absolutely. And these girls are going to get out extremely fast here. I believe that's Kayla Schwulo of Mornington Peninsula. I should have eaten more carrots when I was younger because I can't really see across the track there. So as they get closer to us, we might be able to pick it. But I believe that's Aisha Cassidy of Box Hill who's going to lead them out on the home track there. As the rest of the field, this is actually probably one of the most strung out first 200 metres we've seen of the night. So it must be a pretty hot pace here. As we see, Cassidy's going to take them through at least through the first 200 as we start to get a read of the athletes here. That is Kayla Schwulo of Mornington Peninsula in third place, and in second there, right on the shoulder of Aisha Cassidy, and that would be Kayla Bridges there.
And it's Ava Dlazniak, the unattached athlete, who is leading everyone through, it looks like.
Yeah, I think
with
you're
hip
right there.
11. And definitely is Kayla Bridges from Eureka right up on her shoulder. Will she be taking the trip back to Ballarat the Savo or this evening with some macas in her belly?
Well, if she runs extremely well, and they've gone out at a good pace. I think they went through in about 1:16.17 there, Mick. So I'm going to leave that to you because maths is certainly not my strong point. As the unattached athlete is still going to continue to lead them out. And she is looking quite comfortable there. There's leading two. They've got about 10-15 metres on the other two behind them. So everybody's sort of running in pairs here. Not too many left in no man's land. So
it was a quick start across the field. As we've seen in the last few races, the whole field has gone through that first lap in under the time that the lead racers or the lead seed times probably want to get. And so we've seen a few quick starts in the 1500s, but we've seen a few good PBs as well. So we'll see how they fare across the next couple of laps.
Yeah, and that is Delisney actually still in the front there, our unattached athlete who is racing with the Box Hill singlet on. So Unsure whether she is a Box Hill athlete, but as we now see Kayla Bridges make her way around to the outside, and behind them there, in third place, is Sarah Watts of Ballarat YCW. Shulov right behind them there. Bella Eno of Frankston behind them, and in number 6 there is Kushi Diol of Box Hill. So we start to see these girls, they're spreading out a little bit of movement behind them there. But it's great running up the front there as we'll get the split through the first 800, and that's going to be running about 2:43. So all looking strong there, Mick, I would say.
Absolutely. And it gets a little bit harder as we get into this third lap. Everyone says the 1500s are made in that third lap. Just got to hold on. Anyone can run a fast first lap. It's not too hard to close if you're feeling fresh, but you've got to hold on for that third lap. And especially when you're spread out, there's no one else around, it is particularly hard to do. So we do see these athletes probably spread across about 150 odd metres now.
Yeah, and we see the two actually in second and third place there working quite well together. And as I say that, Sarah Watts of Ballarat YCW starts to break away from the third place there. So Kayla Bridges is still out in front. She would have about a 10-15 metre lead, 500 metres to go. But watch out for Sarah Watts. She is the danger right now in second place. As we see Ava Deluzniak still there in third, and our Mornington Peninsula athlete and Shulov is in fourth place. But Kayla Bridges, she's going to hit the bell and she's going to want to get into gear now. 3:50 on the clock. So she has about 15 metre lead there on Sarah Watts of Ballarat YCW. That is still Ava Deluzniak there in third place as the rest of the field now maybe starts to make a few moves. We've seen Kushi Diol move up through the field there, but all eyes are still on Kayla Bridges, and she is moving away from our second place athlete in Sarah Watts there from Ballarat YCW.
Yeah, Bridges is on track to get a PB if she closes strongly. She's probably got about 5 seconds up her sleeve. If she just hangs on, the rest of the field, depending on where their PBs lie, might be around the mid 5:30 mark. So we'll see how they close in late stages. It is getting increasingly difficult to make out the athletes on this dark track.
Yeah, well, she is flying. She has put her foot down. She said, see you later. If she hadn't said it before, she said it now. So 150 metres to go. Kayla Bridges there of Eureka. She's going to come to 100. She's certainly made the trip worth it, and this has been a dominant performance. She bided her time early, and now she's going to reap the rewards of what she did later in the race. Kayla Bridges now coming down 50 metres to go, and she's only getting stronger and stronger. She's not going to rest on her laurels. She's going to hit the line and hit it hard here, and she's going to come through at 5:08, 5:09, 5:10 on the clock.
10-second PB if you don't mind.
And we now see Schwulo of Mornington Peninsula come through for second, and that's also Kushi Diol, so she's moved her way through, and she's just going to get Watts on the line there, as we now see Joanne Pratt come through. Deluzniak, who did a lot of work early. Claudia Paul now coming through to the line. Greta Ashley as well there. Now we see Jasmine Orelli come through. Bella Eno now through the line. And hip number 8, Grace Young.
And just having a very quick glance of the athletes and their PBs that they came through the line. I think the first 8 or 9 in that race all collected PBs with their seed times ranging between 5:20 and 5:35. Most of them finishing under their respective times there.
Yeah, well, that was great racing. And you know, Kayla Bridges, she just, when she put her foot down, she was gone. No one was going to get within a sniff of her. So that's fantastic racing. And to have 8 girls, you know, run a PB on a beautiful night down here at Box Hill early in the season, it's a great confidence boost. And it's just followed the theme of great racing all night, Mika. So it's great to see everybody still performing into the darkness, except for our eyesight.
Well, I think we're still performing. You know how sometimes they say, that was too easy. And some smart ass goes, oh, yeah, do it with your eyes closed then. I feel like that's what we're trying to do
exactly
now.
What we're doing up here,
it's the commentary equivalent of some smart ass.
Yeah.
All right, men's G race, over to you, Jimmy Coleman.
So next up in this field with hip number 1 will be Matthew Mahoney of Glen Huntly. Hip 2, Wilson Fletcher of Mornington Peninsula. Hip 3, Daniel Velado, unattached. Hip 4, Brody Andrew of Essendon. Hip 5, Joshua Grobela of Williamstown. Hip 6, James Ty of South Melbourne. Hip 7, Jake Sarup, unattached, perhaps a sibling of Noah who we saw earlier in that race, have an absolute blinder. Can he follow his sister? I'm guessing. Daughter? Cousin? Aunt? Anyway, Tyler Hadfield, hip 8, unattached. Hip 9, Shane Holt of Box Hill. Hip 10, Robert Jones of Deakin. Hip 11, Cameron Lee, unattached. Hip 12, Samuel Pearce of Ballarat YCW. Hip 13, Jai Farrar. Lost my start list. Of Mornington Peninsula was Jai Farrar in hip 13. Hip 14, Zachary Norton of Doncaster. Hip 15, Michael Bishop of Mornington Peninsula. And hip 16, Antonio Russo of Glen Huntly.
Big field of 16 here as well. So great to see the turnout still rolling deep into the later parts of the night. As we're in the starter's hand now, the gun is up. And we are racing now. And from the inside, they're going to try and take it out early. And it looks like one of our smallest athletes in the field is going to be the one to make up the running. And again, trying to get a read from the other side of the track has not been my strong point tonight. So once they roll around, maybe past the 200, we might be able to get a better read on them, Jimmy. But if you want to take a crack, I'd love to hear it. But I think that might be Brodie Andrews out in front of Essendon.
You know what? Nah. he's throwing me under the bus, but no, you were correct, Mitch. It is. So it's Brodie Andrews leading us through, and then Jai Farrar in Mornington Peninsula in second. So those bright singlets certainly help us identify the athletes in the dark. No, that's not Matthew Mahoney up the front. It's Antonio Russo, who's sitting just in third. So we'll get ready for their split coming up. But taking a look at these seed times, 4:38 down to 4:47. So only a 9-second spread between these athletes. We'll probably be looking at about a 74-second through the 400. So perhaps just a little bit slow at this point, which may be not such a bad thing. There's certainly plenty of time for the athletes to pick up the pace over the final stages of the race.
Hey, Antonio Russo, a strong name for a strong position in this race. He's going to sit on the outside of them there in about third place, now into second as we start to see him jump behind Jai Farrar there of Mornington Peninsula. So there's been a huge showing of the men and women of Orange tonight, but that is Antonio Russo on the outside, and I could say that name all night. So hopefully he stays towards the front. So Russo on the outside of Farrar there on the inside, and I believe coming around there now is James Tye of South Melbourne. So they're nicely bunched here. A lot of them are happy to sort of sit in the middle of that pack and see how it pans out, but Russo now on the outside, Farrar still on the inside, and on the very inside of them was Brodie Andrews, our early race leader. So these guys are going to be able to work themselves out quite nicely. No one's really fallen off the pace. Everybody working well together as we start to see a few shift into lane 2, borderline lane 3. But Farrar and Russo at the front here coming up to 800 metres. And they're going to come through in about 2:30 there, Jim. So they're starting to move a little bit, but we'll see how this pack, if anyone can come from it and have a crack at the front.
Yeah, so they've picked up just a little bit, but probably still need to get a move on just a little bit more. One of the things I love about Victorian Milers Club, because we're all entering with seed times, we certainly see a mix of the generations in the field. We see some of the youth of the athletics versus the experience of some of the veterans that have been doing this for a long time and know exactly how 3 3/4 laps works. And Russo starting to wind up and maybe just gapping the field a little bit.
Yeah, power name, power performance from Russo as he gets his arms swinging now as he's going to come up to the bell. A sweet relief for a lot of athletes when they hear that bell, but now they might start to bridge the gap there. That's our athlete, Cameron Lee.
Yes.
So he's going to get on him there. 3:28 through the bell. Russo still in front. Lee now right behind him there. And I believe that is our Ballarat YCW athlete, and Samuel Pearce now just off the back of the end. So Lee now goes around Russo. 300 metres to go. Lee's going to lead him into the back straight at about 3:44, but Russo says, I'm not done yet. I'm going to hang off you. The Ballarat YCW athlete there sitting in third. He's looking extremely comfortable, and he's going to ride off the back too. So Russo in second, Lee still leading, and we've got our South Melbourne athlete James Tye coming up 200 metres to go. Jim.
Yeah, I tell you what, James Ty's looking very good, and he's timed his run to perfection. He's just on the back of Russo, but he can't quite get it done just at this moment. But he moves on the shoulder of the outside, but hold on a second from Williamstown. That could be Joshua Grobbler, and I can remember him last mile as having a fantastic run as well. He's just put his way on the outside, but James Ty of South Melbourne, he's thrown the gauntlet down. He wants to take this win, but Grobbler coming right after him. Can he just get there? Can Ty hold him off? Grobbler of Williamstown just edges James Ty out. Fantastic running from both of them. Russo not too far behind. He was doing much of that early work. Lee as well, our unattached athlete who we saw with that big explosion on the bell lap. So still exciting races all around here to the late evening at Victorian Milers Club, but we're not done with yet.
Well, just another perfectly timed sit and kick, wasn't it? And Grobbler, he was not going to die wondering. So a great race to pip him on the outside there. Lee, he was always around the mark, and you probably thought he had it with about 200 metres to go, but just goes to show the race is never over until you've hit the line. So a great race there by Grobbler, and Lee should be very happy with that. Russo there through for fourth.
So men's H, 1,500 metres, this second last race of the night here at Box Hill. And your competitors in lane 1, Joel Davies from Mornington Peninsula. Lane 2, Andrew McIntosh, Invitational. Lane 3, Ross Pentland from South Melbourne. Lane 4, Paul Viney of Collingwood. Lane 5, Amelia Jayathalth from Collingwood. Lane 6, Hudson Bucci, Invitational. Lane 7, Will Orchard, Mentone. Lane 8, Richard Dorr from Glen Huntly. Jack Ewanson, Box Hill. Toby Hurst from Maccabi. Harry Chen, Box Hill. Kalen Luong, Invitational. Angus Ashworth, Invitational. Cameron Ellis, Diamond Valley. Mitchell Graham, Ringwood, and to round out the field of 16, Edward Gibson of Mentone. So seed times ranging from 4:50 to 5 minutes. They should be pretty tightly bunched in the early stages and throughout the race.
Yeah, 10-second spread. Again, it's great to see some of these deep races still having such a close spread between them. Just shows the depth of Victorian distance running at the moment. Shows Victorian Milers Club definitely putting on some fantastic events, some of the best in the country, I dare say. Do a fantastic job.
Oh, dare say as well, James. Absolutely. The number of participants that are at these regular Milers Club meets, one a month for the summer season. Range of distances as well, if you like 8s and 15s,
yeah.
And the odd 3K.
Yeah, the odd 3K. That's a bit of a staple event, that old 3K, to kick off the season. And then, of course, the Victorian Mile Championship that we have in February. That'll be exciting to get around. But other than that, 8s and 15s.
That's why they call it the Milers Club, isn't it?
It is.
The metric Milers Club.
And the classic mile.
Or the half Milers Club.
That's, yeah.
I think there's an 800 on every meet, isn't there?
There is, yeah.
Maybe it should be called the half
The
Milers
half Milers Club. What do you reckon? Doesn't have the same ring to it, though, does it?
No, it doesn't.
I'll tell you what does have a ring to it. Harry Chen, as he comes through that first 300, he's looking pretty strong, comfortable at the moment. So,
and Hudson Bucci of Mentone in the yellow singlet is closely behind him. And is that a Box Hill teammate as well in third position as they go through the first 400 metres in about 70 seconds. The rest of the field clears it in about 75. And what they need to break 4 minutes 50 for the first time is 77. So another fast start to this 1,500 metre event. Let's see how they hold on in the progressing stages of this race.
Yeah, those first three have well and truly put their stake down for the win in this heat. And good to see the three of them working together as well. They've spaced out nicely, just giving each other enough room to be able to tuck in nicely behind. And this is the type of running that leads to fast times and personal bests. So this is great work by the three athletes up front. This is what we like to see. This is what Milers Club is all about.
Definitely makes it easy when you can get into a little group and work off people until the final stages where that sit and kick just comes into play.
Yeah, that's right. Bucci, I'd say, looking pretty dangerous for that sit and kick, isn't he? He looks very comfortable just sitting in second position there.
It looks like I think it's Toby Hurst in third position there.
Yeah, looking strong as well. And then Ross Pentland of South Melbourne kind of, there's a little bit of a chase pack as I was looking at it, but they've kind of just broken away a little bit.
Pace train, more
Yeah,
like
pace-
it, rather
yeah,
than a
pace
pace
train, that's
rather
it.
than a chase
Than a
peloton.
Yeah, it's a train, and everyone's in a pretty good position at this point.
Well, everyone that's going through now is under 4:50 pace. But we know they did have a pretty quick first lap. So
Yeah,
this
quick
is the
first
money lap, the third lap. Everyone needs to just try and hang on. 300
It
metres
is.
to go. Anyone can run fast, 300 metres to go.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And once you hit the bell, you get that adrenaline going.
That's the theory, isn't it?
But yeah, that third lap is the premiership
Yeah,
quarter.
that's where
and if we
make it
stick
or break
with
it.
With the earlier theme, the reverse Richmond kit of the 2017 premiership,
You mean the Mentone kit?
the Mentone kit, reverse Richmond kit,
Yep,
the away
yep.
kit, the Clash kit,
All right.
Hudson Bucci. What can he show in this premiership quarter? It looks like he's just bided his time a little bit, but he's come on the outside of Chen like he's ready to strike when he hears the bell. This is textbook Kenenisa Bakili running right here. Waits to the bell, comes on the outside of the shoulder. Bucci pulling away just a little bit now.
So those first 5 athletes there should all come under the 4:50 mark, which a bunch of them have put as their seed times if they finish in about the same pace that they have been running the rest of this race. Ross Pentland running a pretty strong race down in 4th position, but look towards the head of the field.
It's been a bit of an explosion.
Is that the athlete from Diamond Valley in Cameron Alice? Or is seeing green towards the end of the track?
It's green.
Or
could
it
one
could
of
be
our
the unattached athletes.
But we'll have to get the ID on him as he comes around again. Forgiveness. But we need forgiveness. As the
Please
the
forgive
darkness-
us.
Please forgive us.
For we have
The
no
darkness
eyesight.
comes. We will do you justice
I reckon
in
they
this
are
final
unattached.
straight. So Andrew McIntosh, we got there eventually. It's been a superb last lap. Fantastic running from Andrew McIntosh. He's well and truly under that 450 mark. In fact, he's cracked 440, and brilliant running from Bucci as well. And Pentland all coming through. Personal best times under that 450. Harry Chen perhaps just on the PB mark. So remember, 5 minutes. If we can get all our athletes under that, they'll be going home happy tonight. We might just get there. Brilliant running from this group. Another exciting race.
So the bulk of the athletes, once again, another race where the majority have collected PBs. Especially those top 5. Very impressive running. It got a bit strung out. A little bit of pack running early on, but some very solid performances.
Yeah, some fantastic running, which brings us now to the final race of the evening.
Yeah, you're right, Jimmy. It's the men's I 1500, and there are still a lot of people on the back straight, so clearly this is going to be an absolute banger. We're going to read off the hip numbers right now. Number 1, Toby Griffith, unattached. Number 2, Jared Traub of Maccabee. Number 3, Ranveer Gurja of Box Hill. Number 4, Andrew Dubar, who's unattached. Number 5, Vernon Gibson of Mentone. Number 6, Cooper Proven of St. Kevin's. Number 7, Mark Purser of Doncaster. Number 8, Angus Thomas of Williamstown. Number 9, Jackson Tanner of Mornington Peninsula. Number 10, William Egner of Ballarat YCW. Number 11, Scott Orchard of Glen Huntley. Number 12, Matthew Morrison of CCR. Someone's going to have to help me out with that one. Is that Casey Cardinia? I'm going to...
Crosby Crew.
Close. Number 13, Oscar Wright, unattached. 14, Benjamin Lawton, unattached. 15, Alejandro Stevens of South Melbourne. And number 16, John Curry of Doncaster. And I'll tell you what, I took Spanish for a few weeks, and that's the only way I know how to pronounce Alejandro. So
As opposed to Alejandro.
yes, which is what I was thinking.
Just like Jose.
Yeah.
Instead of Jose.
Josie. Old.
You know, my massage guy, his name's Jose,
Yeah.
and he has a brother.
I think I know what the joke is, but I don't want to ruin
What do you think his brother's name is?
it. Hoseby.
Yeah. Anyway. And I also noticed, Mitch, you got the Williamstown one right. WTN, Williamstown.
I
It's
messed
taken
it up
6
4 or
goes and
5
18
times.
races.
Yeah,
But yeah,
so we're only at the 30th race of the night, so that's good. But
you'll remember for next time.
Yeah, Jose Hoseby. That's a Bill Dyer classic joke.
Yeah,
So
it's a real 920 joke.
Yeah, we're away in the men's I 1500, and honestly, you could close your eyes and you'd have a better chance of knowing who's leading this race than we do. So we might have to wait until they trundle around, but if we're going to try and make an educated guess here as they start to spread out, that lead pack of 5 up in front, as we try and get this start list up in front of us, it's going to be, I think there is...
No, I think it's going to be one of our unattached athletes in the paper bib. So have a quick look at that. 5'2", 8'4", Oscar Wright.
All right, Oscar Wright there. So we've got the young fellas who are going to lead us out here in the final race of the night. And just as I say that, our Box Hill athlete in Ranveer Gurja now goes to the front. So he's not going to wait around. And you're right, it is Oscar Wright there. And the number 1, Toby Griffith, who's going to take them through for 3rd. The number 5 hip there, I believe, or 6 hip is Cooper Proven. So it's strung out a bit here as we're about to go through the first lap. And it's going to be Ranveer Gurja who's going to take them through in about 69 seconds. So only one of our athletes is going to follow behind, and he's trailing by about 5 metres. So nice and spread out here, Jim.
Yeah, well spread out. So those seed times, 5:01, the quickest seed time. So it'd be great if we could see as many athletes as possible breaking that 5-minute mark. Again, that's one of those barriers that's lovely to tick off. A nice round number, 5 minutes for the 1500. So probably see them need to hit about 77, 78 seconds through those 400s.
Great running maths.
Something or other like that. But I tell you what, this is great running at the moment from Ranveer Gurja on his home track, wanting to do his teammates and his club proud, and that's exactly what he's doing at the moment, sporting that terrific headband.
Yeah, well, he is just fully taken on Jay-Z's philosophy, and he's dusted his shoulders off, and he's going to show them exactly what he can do here on the Box Hill Athletics track. Is Ranveer Gurja. The home track behind him there is one of our unattached athlete, and I believe that is Benjamin Lawton. So the rest of the field started to move around a bit. Our Mentone athlete in Vernon Gibson now is going to take 3rd place, and we have another one unattached behind him. Following on from there, we have Mark Purser from Doncaster. So this field's nicely strung out, but it's not going to bother Ranveer Gurja, who is just extending his lead stride by stride. He would have to be about 30, 35 metres. Maths isn't a strong point, but I'll have to eyeball that one and say it might even be 40 now. So Gurja looking very comfortable out in front, Jim.
Yeah, he certainly is looking great. Now, I won't hold that 30 or 40 metres against you because I reckon that is about 30 to 40 metres.
Thank you.
Spot on the money. And Gurja showing no signs of tiring up at this stage. I mean, there is still 550 to go, and at the end of a 1500, very much can happen in that later stages. But it's going to take a bold move, and it's going to need to come soon.
Yeah, well, mate, right now it's Gurja's world, and the rest of the boys are just living in it. He is absolutely having a crack down here. He's going to come down the front straight for the second last time, Gurja. Probably still 40, 45 metres ahead, so he might have increased it a little bit, but not all that much. As he's going to take the bell right now. It's going to come through in 3:28, 3:29, 3:30 on the nose there. So Gurja comes through with 1 lap to go. What can the rest of this field do? Nothing's unattainable. Can they catch him? Number 14 here, Benjamin Lawton's going to come through, and that's our number 1 hip, Toby Griffith. Behind him there is Mark Purser of Doncaster. So Gurja, he's a fair way in front. It would take a massive effort from Benjamin Lawton to be able to pick him up here, but Gurja, he was a little bit behind in the first 200, but apart from that,
he's just gone to the front.
Flexed his muscles.
He has, and I mean, we'll have a look at his seed time there. He is the fastest seed in the field at 5:01. So can we see him get under that 5-minute mark? I think we certainly will. But I reckon we'll see a few others under that mark as well. On the back straight, we see a strong move made.
Toby Griffith there.
Yeah, he's moved up very well, looking strong over the last 200. Maybe he's left it too late for the win. I'd say most likely. But perhaps that opportunity to get under that 5-minute barrier.
You never know. He's actually picked up about 10 metres, 15 metres in this last 100. So I don't think he's going to catch him, but he's certainly put himself in a good position to be able to get close. So Gurja, he's thrown the finger up coming down the home straight, and he said, "Thank you very much.
Yeah,
I'll
I
take
brought
that
the
win." And you celebrate Gurja right here, right now, over the
Put
line.
it up,
He
yeah,
bounced
he's
his
done
fist
the
and he
shake.
said, "That one's for the boys." Well done there
Yabba
by
dabba
Ranford
doo.
Gurja, and he is pumped up. Boy,
Yeah,
oh
Gurja.
boy.
Look at him.
He's going to look
He's
for
just
fist
walked
bumps
off the
down
track.
there. Yeah,
Yeah,
bit of a
giving high
handshake to the
fives all
press.
around. He shoved off the media.
Jeremy
shied away
Griffith
from the
there.
camera.
The president of Box Hill said, "G'day." He said, "Mate, I don't have time for you. I'm the winner of the men's I 1500 here at the Milers Club." Great race. I've been a bit distracted from who's come through the line now. But Gurja, there's a few down there who want a bit of his attention. So
They sure do.
recruiting for the old Steigen meet that we're going to see in December. Maybe Gurja's a little bit of a wild card, a draft slider, a bolter. And well done there to the boys in the I 1500. But what a salute!
Oh, it's unreal.
What a salute! And we are live streaming Steigen, which is going to be sensational. So I hope I get to call Renvik Gurja's name again. So anyone out there drafting, or if you rewatch this, please nominate yourself. So we will be at the Steigen meet just before Christmas. Always a spectacular meet at 10,000 metres, and I believe one of our very own might even be racing down there. So it'll be great fun to call his name. But a great night of racing here at Box Hill. 30 races done and dusted, and it's been a great night, boys.
Oh, it certainly has. Always enjoy calling these races with you guys. It's a bit of fun. You got to see some great racing. Plenty of PBs tonight. You know what we need to have for milers is everyone that gets a PB, like we mark it and we see how many PBs we can get tonight. Yeah.
we need an admin in person if
Yeah,
there's
yeah,
anyone else
admin,
there
admin.
wants to join the team.
Yeah, the whiteboard.
A whiteboard and anyway, we'll catch everyone next time at Steigen. I think is the next one for Athletes Exclusive coming up, and then of course the Milers Club meets on the other side of Christmas. We'll have one in January, one in February, and one in March that you can tune into. Watch from home, of course. Everyone is very welcome to come along and participate as well. So catch you next time.
Adios.
See you later.